Yo, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back once again to a new episode of the Slot One Super Podcast. It is Friday. It's time for episode 14. We are going to be talking about the all the goings on in Dokkan for this week, as well as things to come in the future, as always. And yeah, I am going to be your main host for this episode, the Master again. But of course, as always, I am not alone on the episode. I'm joined by my beautiful co-host. Look at them there next to me in a row. We have directly to my right on the screen, we have our boy Minato's Flash. How's it going?
I'm doing well. We're cooking here. Sorry, I had my mic muted for a second. I forgot, but we're cooking today. There's a lot to talk about, so that's all I have to say, really.
Yeah, and then of course the man obsessed with the animations, our boy at the end there.
I love PNGs.
Assets. How's it
going? Good. I'm feeling a lot better. I'm sure some of you saw on Twitter earlier this week. Your boy was cooking, and not in the good way. I had like 103.5 fever, so that was not good. But I'm feeling a lot better now. Still a little sick, but definitely not cooking now. So we're good.
Not bursting with
not bursting like a Charmander in the flames. Yeah.
Well, yeah, so we are at a very interesting time in the game now. We've just come out of the hero celebration, of course. You know, we spent many weeks talking
we
about
had to mention it.
We got to get the mention in there. So we're going to try and work somehow mentioning heroes into every episode. But hey, not only did we just come out of that celebration, but we've gone straight into a new celebration with crossover buffs. So almost like they planned it that way or something. Who knows? But so yeah, we have gone from the heroes. Of course they did. From the hero celebration, we have gone straight into another same time celebration. So I think most people would say we did not expect this, especially because if I remember rightly, the announcement for Android 21 as the next Dokkan Fest came out on JP and did not come out on Global the same day. Yeah. Whereas usually when it's before like, you know, Heroes or the Worldwide Celebration or something like that, those updates appear in the news at the same time on both versions. So it's very interesting. I mean,
the reason why is because they wanted the producer's letter to announce it as well.
Right. So
And so it's like a producer's letter surprise, and that makes sense to me if that was what they're thinking.
It was funny because I was streaming the morning when the announcement came out in the news on JP, and as often happens with these kind of things, people like to speculate about all sorts of things. And we were saying in the chat, it's like, well, wouldn't it be kind of crazy if this came out on both versions at the same time? Because it's, you know, this Fighterz update is like a worldwide thing. And then I looked at the time that the banner was ending for Goku and the Dokkan Fest banner that had God Goku on it, and for some reason it wouldn't have implied anything to do with the same time release, I think, because the banner came out at a different time anyway. But I swear those two banners went away earlier than banners usually leave the game, because normally they just bleed into each other, right? Like one of them leaves literally like a minute before the other one comes out, but the Goku banner and that other Dokkan Fest banner went away like 6.5 hours earlier than usual. So I said on the stream, I was like, I wonder if this means they will be out at the same time. But obviously the 21 banner, even though it did come out at the same time, just came out at a normal banner time. So really those end times weren't a clue at all, but it ended up actually being the case. So yeah, crazy. So same time Fighterz campaign, crossover campaign on both versions. So obviously, I know I'm the main global player here, but Minato, we'll throw it over to you first of all. I think the big thing that a lot of people are wondering and were quite surprised by this development is what do you think is potentially going on for global for the rest of the year? Because, I mean, pretty much all of us, myself included, you know, like I said, we saw that Android 21 teaser. It wasn't on global. So most of us just were like, well, Super Trunks is next. And here we are. So,
dude, I ate Super Trunks. I got like 5 of them on that 21 banner because on JP he returns. Right, it's kind of crazy. He returned on JP before he's out on.
That's actually crazy.
That is kind of wild.
Celebrations. I have them rainbowed now, and usually I don't have like the Dokkan Fest rainbow or something when they return.
I'm so sorry.
So I'm like, okay, dude, I got 5 of them before I got 1. But
wait, did you not get him originally?
No, I did have 2 dupes in them already, but I got 5 of them on the banner.
Oof.
It's like, okay, man, get away. He knows he hates me. He knows I hate him. We hate each other. Fraud. But I'm getting
You
off
have that
topic of what
mutual
we're
hate
actually
for each
talking
other.
about. So it depends what part 2 is going to be, at least for GP, because usually in the second half of December, like around December 14th, there is a Carnival LR that releases. Now it's a Carnival LR that's double rates.
Yep.
This should be
Yep.
where Omega returns in JP, and it'll be just, we don't know what the LR is going to be, because if it's like
Right.
a crossover kind of LR or something like that,
That'd
then
be wild.
I think there's a pretty interesting or a good shot that the 20 like it could be same time as well. But keep in mind, I would assume if there is going to be like a part 2 LR, well, last year the missions for the winter celebration did list that was specifically the first half. This Fighterz collaboration does not have missions that list it's like a first half, and
Interesting.
it all the events and everything ends, and it wouldn't make sense for them to end a Fighterz collaboration then do another Fighterz
Right.
collaboration
Yeah.
like
That's
this
true.
a second one,
Yeah.
because usually in December it's like they're technically two different celebrations. It's weird.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It would be kind of weird if they did that. It wouldn't make sense to me because it's an actual collab.
Right.
So no matter what, I know some people were thinking the LR could be related to Fighterz. I would assume not, because of that's when the collabs.
Yeah, that's
happened right
fair.
before.
The part 2
But
thing is definitely good evidence. Yeah.
yeah, but I do think that it could be two avenues. One, Global gets the part 2 LR anyways, because they could do that, right? Still. But I'm thinking that, again, we know that the Christmas banner is likely going to be the Tanabata banner for Global. So I'm thinking they're just going to finally push Omega out in that time spot for Global. And then obviously with the Super Saiyan 4 Goku returning, then they'll bring out the part 2 of what Tanabata was supposed to be on Global, which was the thank you celebration, I think, right? And I think that makes a lot of sense because Global will finally get the Omega fight. I think that'd be really cool.
I know.
21, I think, is pretty nice.
Yeah,
an
for
Omega
real.
Fight. And it just brings out content that people are missing. And then that helps them kind of close the game together a little, but it'd be really weird because otherwise, if they don't do that, and then we'll have, okay, let's say the part 2 LR, then New Year's is most likely going to be synced, and then there's a lot of speculation on anniversary, 9th anniversary being same time.
Yep.
So if that does happen, then it's like, then in March, Super Trunks is going to return. When it came out in August the previous year. Then after that, it's going to be same day. Then the Androids. Then Omega. Then rebrand somewhere like after April of next year. It's like that they're going to have to start mixing and matching some of these releases. It's just really bizarre, like how they're handling it. It's almost like New Year's, the step up banner. Like, what if they make it have all these characters and Global gets like a special banner to catch up the games? I don't think that's going to be the case, but it's like these banners are just being pushed back and back more and more, it feels like. So we'll see what happens, but it's possible that I would say if they want to catch the games up by like next anniversary or like in the middle of the year next year, they're gonna want to do anniversary same time because it just sets back so many things like Tanabata and stuff. But that's like a general idea of what the end of the year I think could be, like in terms of like the end of the year, next few months, I guess. But
yeah. Theo, any other thoughts? What's going on with this schedule at the moment?
Yeah, so it is obviously, Minato makes a lot of good points. The thing, I'm sure like for the part 2 specifically of this celebration, right? I think probably, I'd have to imagine that maybe they'll just call it something else and it just won't be like a part 2 this time. They'll just be like, oh, Carnival celebration or whatever, right? It'll just be like, the
like
whatever name they call it.
Like they use
something like that, right?
Fighting the Christmas cold.
Yeah, that's a good. No, that's a good one. That's gas.
That's the ones that they usually give names like that.
They genuinely do.
They
It's true.
Yeah, that was good. But yeah, like I think that is pretty much the case, right? Because usually, we can see, even if the missions aren't live, right? Like in the data, if it's like, part 2, or obviously if the missions say part 1, then obviously it's like, okay, well then there's going to be a part 2. I would also think like, I don't know, for me personally, I feel like it would be kind of weird to go into like another collab. I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm underestimating Dokkan, because to be fair, we did go from one collab to another, which is already kind of like, wow, that's pretty insane. So I guess, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they couldn't just, slap another one on us. But anything is possible, but I just kind of see it a little bit unlikely. I think that, yeah, it sounds about right, basically what Minato said about how the schedule will probably go for the rest of the year. I think it'll just be interesting to see where they do end up, putting these, like, extra characters that they still have yet to release, especially if they keep doing these same time celebrations. Because I kind of have to imagine that they are going to do New Year's as a same time celebration, right? I mean, like, they did it. They did it last year for Gohan Beast and Orange Piccolo, but I, kind of think that probably just to make it easier on them, especially for the whole version sync thing, and obviously for the fact that they're trying to just do more same time releases coming up, I would think that probably that would end up being the same thing. So we'll have to see about, the LR. I feel like that LR that's like the quote unquote Christmas LR, right? We'll have to see whether they do it, together or not. Because sometimes they have and sometimes they haven't, which is the weird thing, right? Like a bunch of years it wasn't, but then I remember with Tech Gohan, right?
Yeah,
it was like literally out of nowhere. It was just like, they basically decided to do it for both versions at the same time, which was so crazy at the time, I remember, because it was like just so random as well. Like that really hadn't happened that much, and that hadn't happened for that banner as far as I remember for that one. So
it hasn't happened since then, right?
No, and it hasn't happened since then either, which is so weird. They just woke up one day feeling funny and decided to put it on the same.
Popular.
Yeah, right, exactly. They're like
the top grossing notification.
Yeah, I mean, I can say from the global like player perspective, it definitely was hype that he came out with both versions. So it was very cool.
And
so I wonder if they'll do that again, but we'll have to see.
I just feel like with the Tanabana banner being the Christmas banner, it would make sense that if they want to push on Omega, but they don't have to, right? So it's like I think there's arguments either way.
Well, the nice thing about like that the Tana, but just so I'm not confusing myself, we're talking about the blue Tanabata banner where the LRs return, right? Where the anniversary LRs return. Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to double check. I was like, wait,
no matter what, that's coming out this month.
Yeah.
For Christmas.
And I mean, like, that could be there with a new unit too.
It could,
right?
For sure.
It's like, even though that banner could definitely like be there on its own and be fine, like, I mean, it is a side banner, right? I mean, like, it's just a complementary banner to the main banner. I mean, especially, on JP during Tanambot, obviously the regular banner and that one is both there. Obviously not all the full time, but they could definitely just release a new unit while that's there. I mean, as far as I know, well, I don't know, maybe this would be something that we could poll a little bit. I know people like they do summon on that banner, but as far as I know, it's usually not like pulled upon as much as like brand new units. But it is a pretty stacked banner. But then also, you got to keep in mind that it's hard to get exactly what you want, because obviously, since that banner has so many characters on it,
exactly.
It's hard to snipe the one that you want. So I know sometimes people don't go for it.
I saw him comment in chat, and then I think it was Annie that said they could just throw us a bone basically and put Omega on that banner anyways. And the part
that would be kind of wild.
That's when GP is supposed to have the character return, and it's like, I mean, they could, because it still would be like 10 featured units, right? And it's like, unlike like Super Trunks like returning on this banner, you don't have to worry about a banner unit for Omega.
Yeah.
So,
true.
I mean, it's kind of like the banner would then just be, I guess the way they would like market it and stuff is the banner would just essentially be almost like the old part 2 anniversary banners where we got 2 new LRs on one banner. That would be kind of cool for global, to be fair, because I know a lot of people. It'd be an interesting one, because I feel like everybody on global. I mean, I'm probably just. I don't think I am just speaking for myself. There's probably one or two Omega fans out there, maybe. But global, we only want the Omega stuff to come because we want the Omega fight. Nobody wants to summon for LR Omega Shenron.
Right, that's
so
true.
If they drop
Which
a
is
banner
really
that
funny,
has a
honestly.
new LR and then he's just on it as well, then
Yeah.
that would be better because I feel like for them as well, it's a better way to put out a banner that has the potential to make money, because I feel like if imagine JP gets some cool new like part 2 Christmas LR and then global gets Omega, like no one's gonna summon on that banner.
Like, JP gets that new LR and Omega returning, and then global just gets Omega.
Yeah, like no one's gonna summon on that banner.
The thing with Omega's banners, STR Carnival Goku already did return.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
On global version. So it could be like they just put Omega and the LR in the new banner. Global gets synced anniversary, then that's where the 8th anniversary Carnival LRs also return, because they should still be on the JP anniversary banner, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So then it's like, let's make all the banners the same, right? They have the opportunity. It just depends on if they're like.
I mean,
maybe analytics wise, they would make more money because they would be separate banners, and then that's what they want to put them together. But I'm going to say for sure.
I think a lot of this also kind of goes back to the whole discussion of like, how will they do this? Where I feel like I just recited like a YouTube clickbait thumbnail. How will they do it? You know, how will they like go about bringing forth these like older units while still trying to sync the game to global, right? Because I know Minato was mentioning, right, like, oh, they could just do a banner with, you know, a bunch of the characters who you know, global doesn't have yet, and then they could put them all on one banner, and then it's like that's it. And it's weird because it's like, you know, it was a very interesting thing when the whole global sync started, right? I know obviously we even had the discussion about you know, like the way that Treasure Cruise did it, right? Where we talked about how Treasure Cruise, they just dropped like every single unit that, you know, the game was missing for global. And they just put them all on one banner and was like, all right, good luck, Bozo. Try and get the characters. And then obviously, you know, over time, of course, they're then like put in different pools for different banners and, you know, whatever. But I do think, right, with the characters that are like still left to come to global, because obviously JP's still been releasing a couple of units in the meantime, but I don't think that there's a character at this point that's like, maybe of course, I mean everybody of course has like one character that they really like, or you know, like a character that's really, you know, like their favorite Dokkan Fest, even if it's not like, you know, a widely liked Dokkan Fest, or if it's just not a widely like even if it's like, you know, even if it's like Super Saiyan 4 Goku isn't necessarily your favorite form or something like that, I think most people can agree that they're like, yeah, LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku, he's cool, right? Like, most people agree on that. But when it comes to, like, the top androids or something like that, I mean, maybe even Super Trunks would just be a way better example. But Super Trunks just disliked flat out. But, like, with the androids, it's like, you know, they're cool, but it's not like everybody would be like, oh my gosh, yeah, they're so cool. But, you know, they just kind of there. So my whole point in saying this is that I feel like with the Dokkan Fest that are left, unless I'm forgetting somebody, which you can correct me on, I don't really think that people would mind as much if they just plop them all on one banner, because it's not like units who are either necessary, you know, for like you absolutely need them in your box, or it's not, you know, characters who like people really, really care about. Like, of course, there is always going to be somebody who cares about the unit, but, you know, the majority is what I'm trying to say, you know. I don't think would really mind if they just plot them all. I mean, I know no one would care about Super Trunks. I don't even think gold players care if he ever came out.
There's a few fans out there.
Yeah, I know there's a couple of Twitter hooligans who, you know, who love to, you know, push the random agendas of these random units, but
you know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are.
We know who you are.
You know, I'm in your walls type beat. But you know, obviously what I'm saying is that I don't really think that it would be that big of a deal, to be honest, with who's left. You know, to just kind of plot them all on that banner. I mean, who is global missing, right? What? It's Trunks, the androids, right? Because obviously they just came out. Omega,
Ribrianne.
But that's a little bit different because that's obviously not the same banner, I would assume, right? Yeah, Ribrianne, and then Who else?
Gohan and Piccolo.
Gohan and Piccolo, right?
Yeah.
That's
So-
So
it, I
like they
think.
could put all the Dokkan
That's
Fest
it.
in a banner,
Yeah.
turn Omega right now with that new Part 2 LR, and then Ribrianne could just come out in the middle of January when JP doesn't have a banner.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like a good idea.
If they
And
wanted to do that,
right.
but
That would be so easy. That would be so, and not to mention, right? I understand that obviously from the event standpoint, that would be a little bit weird because it would be like, you know, all of those events that, you know, came out with all three of those Dokkan Fests, right? Like assuming that they do all the Dokkan Fests on one banner, you know, then obviously all those would be coming out at the same time. But not only do I not think that that's not a bad thing, because obviously that's just more content for you to do, and that's also just more stones for people to get, you know, that's just, you know, more in your pocket, basically, at the end of the day. It's not like it's also unfair to JP either, because obviously it's just everything that JP got just at once instead of being spread out, so it's not like it's more or less.
imagine it's like how many Dokkan Fests? Imagine it's like a 28 feature unit banner for 4 Dokkan Fest.
That would be
my
great.
God.
Well, you know, and then the other thing I was thinking too is if they do want to do that, I would think almost, I mean, I don't know, maybe Dokkan wouldn't go for this knowing how Dokkan be Dokkanin, but I kind of wonder if maybe because they're obviously like, they are new to global, but they're technically not new, and they would obviously also kind of be like, technically it would be a little bit of a shaft in terms of if you wanted one specific unit, obviously it would be harder to get them because of course, you know, now they're on a 3-unit banner. But maybe they could put them for red coins right away rather than waiting until when they come back, because then it would be a thing of like, oh well, you know, if you can't summon for them, or, you know, obviously they'll be a
They
little bit
wouldn't do
harder to
that,
get,
yes,
then
you know
I
they
don't
wouldn't
think
do
they
that.
would either, but it would still be cool. You know,
I mean,
it would still be
cool.
nice.
I would
Yeah.
love if they gave me 1,000 stones too, man.
Fair. But you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, obviously, just because of the circumstance, it would be a nice little, like,
It's
okay, we
interest-
understand. Here you go.
It would be kind of interesting because obviously they're trying to sync up the games. And obviously now
Right.
with the release of the 21 banner, Trunks has come back on JP, which means
Right.
as of today, well, yesterday, Trunks is
Yeah.
available to buy with red coins. So if he came
Right.
out on global and was immediately available with red coins, that would just put us in the same spot that JP is in, which is technically
Right.
what they're trying to do. But it would be weird
True.
for the other units because obviously they haven't returned on JP yet. So
Right.
you could almost have it so that it would be like, I suppose the problem is neither the Androids or Gohan and Piccolo are going to return soon on JP. Because I was
Yeah,
going to say
no.
you could have like the newest one is actually the headliner and they're not available with the red
Yeah.
coins, but the other ones are. But yeah, it's only really Trunks
not a
that
bad
has
idea.
come back. I mean, they could make it, even if it was just Trunks, Trunks was available straight away because he has returned on JP. That would be kind of an interesting way of doing it. But yeah, so
The first unit to get 0 copies purchased from the red coins.
I mean, I would buy him with red. I wouldn't summon for him. I'd buy him with red coins just so I had him for
Yeah.
like videos and stuff. But yeah, I wouldn't summon for him. So
I
that'd be great for
debated
me.
it. I debated it on it. I have like 1,375, I think, red coins when I checked.
Right.
And I thought about buying them because I don't have them. I didn't pull for him on his initial banner, and I did 100 stones on this banner. I didn't get diddly squat, so I don't know. I'm kind of debating buying him just to like have him for the sake of collection, because you know me, I like to collect my funny PNGs, but I don't know. I just like, I don't even know if it's worth the coins. I'd almost rather just buy a dupe of an LR when it comes back. But
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, the schedule, who knows? There's a ton of stuff to think about, and I guess we won't really know for sure until we start getting towards the end of what we've got now for part 1. So speaking of which, we should probably get into talking about all the new stuff that has actually come out. We could speculate about what's potentially going to happen for a whole episode, potentially. So before we jump into talking about all the new units, just to give you guys a quick reminder, if you want to help to support the podcast, if you have any questions, comments, or shout outs, all donations and super chats will be read out at the end of the show. Shout out to the one, I think I've had one come in already. So all of those will be read out at the end. If you wanted any questions answered, any shout outs, all that stuff, that will all be very much appreciated and all helps to keep the show going. So we're going to move on now to the main event here. Bring up the other view so we can see her in all of her glory there. There you go. So AGL Dokkan Fest Android 21. So the newest Dokkan Fest released in the game, both versions. She is out. It's been out for just over a day now. So hopefully you guys, if you have summoned, you did manage to pull her. You've had a chance to get her awakened and had a chance to play around with her. We got the benefit. Obviously now, especially because Global got them as well, it seems pretty much a logical guarantee that going forward we're always going to get these nice little extra missions for the Dokkan Fest. So we get a bunch of the extra medals, which shaves off some of the time you have to spend farming the Dokkan event, which is a godsend because
sorry, something in my throat.
AGL 21. I think she's pretty good after using her for a fair bit, getting her to level 10 links. I think you said, Theo, you only did a few summons on the banner, so did you actually pull her, or?
No, unfortunately, I didn't even get any featured units. I'm thinking about going back in, honestly, like maybe just 100 more or like 50 or just one more multi or something. I kind of have a sneaking suspicion. I mean, it kind of would make sense at this point for the boy Gohan Beast to be coming. So I'm trying to kind of keep my stone usage to a minimum, but you know, being Mr. Gohan Beast myself. But I will say, first of all, right, not only is she you know, just a really cool character, right? Obviously, 21 is a super popular character from Fighterz, right? I mean, you know, she's so popular that she was basically, you know, like, not in the exact same capacity, but, you know, she was so popular that she was basically made canon, right? Because in Superhero, obviously, we see her face, that, you know, she was actually Dr. Zero's wife, which is really cool. You know,
she was always Dr. Zero's wife.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, they made it like official basically in the movie, which was cool. So it's nice to see that she's obviously getting some love. And I think Dokkan was very big brain on this one for doing this one right after the Heroes celebration as well, because obviously it's just more crossover characters to be, you know, using. And I think that aspect of it is really cool, you know, having kind of the back-to-back crossover campaign. I think it's just really neat because I don't think they've ever done that before. I can't remember a single time they've ever done something like that. So I think that that's super neat, and obviously that means that, you know, if you've pulled these Heroes units and then you pull 21, you know, you can have some pretty fun shenanigans with the crossover team. Obviously, all the Heroes units don't necessarily work with 21, but you know what I mean. So I think that's really cool. Obviously, you know me, funny animations, man. I actually quite like her animations. There's a couple things that they could improve, but to be fair, you know, that's literally every unit in Dokkan. So like, you know, But you know, I do really like them. Obviously, all of the references to Fighterz are super cool. You know, they do a great job like referencing obviously the source material that they have to work with. And not to mention, it's just kind of cool to see like how they really encapsulated like a bunch of different combos that, you know, basically she does in the super attack, which is awesome. They made some of the sections look like 3D models, especially like the end of 21's regular super when she does like the explosion at the ground and the funny like glasses, you know, like go white. That literally looks like you're just watching a Fighterz like, you know, fight.
There's clips from her animations that it does literally, like you said, it just looks like you're watching somebody play Fighterz, which I think is really cool.
It's awesome. They did a really good job emulating that style for sure. As for the character herself, like I said, I didn't pull her. However, I have watched I watched like an initial showcase, and I watched my buddy got her like first summon from buying like a $10 ticket pack on Global. So nice. I was watching her use her a little bit. Yeah, Global W for sure. Unfortunately, ironically enough, just like what Minato was saying, because I remember Minato's tweet while he was like, "Stop doing this," and it was like all those different Dokkan Fest. I literally watched her get rolled. Like unfortunately, my buddy was using her, and I forget what event he took her to. It was a Master or Omega. I don't remember, but it was like, you know, before anything could happen, right? Like the first attack was the enemy, and she got rolled immediately. But
it was definitely a Fusion Zamasu.
Yeah, it was not great. But To that avail, I will say after that happened, she was cooking a little bit, and I will say definitely I do wish that the pre-transformation was a little bit stronger, but obviously they have to make it weaker than the main one, but I still wish it was a little bit better. But her transform state is really good though. So I think they did a pretty good job with her. I know there was some people saying that she was kind of like, eh. Personally, I don't really see it. I think she's good. So I don't know. That's me, basically.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Minato, what are your thoughts? I know you did get her, so obviously you've had a chance to use her in a bunch of different events now. So,
like
what are your
Theo, I'm
thoughts?
loaded. I'm just kidding. But I think she's good. I think that she's probably a little underrated, even compared to what people are thinking of her. I think, again, people are really focusing on the fact that, and I think it's the same because it's more so that it's kind of dumb that she only gets her dodge after she attacks.
Yep.
It's that only really affects her against Fusions of Masu, but at that point, just like why? It's like it's literally only to make her bad in Fusions of Masu. Because in Omega, Shenron specifically, in the second phase, she's type advantage. And then in the third phase, she has her active skill, which could help her tank the AoEs. And then it's not really that bad, because you're able to transform 21 and that first hit could do some damage, but after that, she'll take double digits. Then she also heals on her super attack. So she's able to really still combat finding AoEs against Omega. It's quite literally just Fusions of Masu, but every single other event, this 21 is very good. Her defense, I think people don't understand how high her defense gets when she super attacks, but when she's transformed, even mine at 55%, easily reaches like 1.2 to 1.5 million defense, depending on the rotation. And she has the 20% reduction. She's able to basically live any super attack in the game, even at free dupe, given the amount of super she gets. And she's healing, like I said. I think my only issue, again, with my experience with her at free dupe, is her damage is a little low. And, she could do the attack stats, right? I think the attack stats aren't really the issue. But it's the fact that a lot of these characters nowadays are doing these attack stats, but also have crit built in. They also have, super effective or something like that that'll help them push the extra level of damage through. And I feel like her attack stats specifically, Rainbow probably can get like 9 to 10 mil. She's doing 9 to 10 mil super attacks. That looks good. But then it's like so many of these characters are potentially even doing more damage than that and also critting. But in turn, she's also much better defensively than most of the game. So I think it's like a fair balance talking about her transforms. Untransformed again, I think I'm fine with her too. She does some interesting things. She's a build-up unit. Her defense usually is more than well enough to tank normals. It's just she might have to rely on that dodge to live, but a 50% dodge chance to live, I think I'll definitely take compared to many characters. I like her a lot. Honestly, the biggest issue with her is not even her fault. It's the fact that the rest of the androids this year have dropped and they just don't. They don't work,
that's
right.
fair.
I mean, the 17s want to be on a full extreme class build, ideally, right? And it's like they aren't really that great themselves. We take a look at the Tournament of Power 17 and 18. They want a Goku on rotation, which I think is the biggest flop ever. Imagine if that 17 and 18 didn't need a Goku, and then they could be ran with that multiple turn support, or somehow on this Androids team. Like that would be insane, right? With this 21, but unfortunately that's not a case. And it's like, beyond that, we had Gamma 1 like over a year ago, and then it's like there's no one else that really fits the team in terms of androids that could really be using difficult content besides the other new 21. So fingers crossed that we have an upcoming EZA. That character hopefully will be good.
Oh man, I'm praying that they're good because they suck, dude.
I mean, they were good on release, but hey.
No. I mean, now they were good on release. That's true. I mean, now, like, dude, I tried to use them. I don't remember why. I was gonna switch them out, but I used them for Battlefield. Okay, I used them for Battlefield, and I was like, oh yeah, like. I'll just bring them and I can throw them on the end of the, Extreme Fizz team. And I'm not even kidding. Single-handedly, they threw the run. I was like, dude, these guys, they need something. Like, the thing is, even with some of those units that don't have EZAs, that like, you use them before they get an EZA, I'm like, okay, they're like not like great, they're not like good, but they're not like terrible bottom of the barrel, right? But they're okay, I guess. But them, like, I would just say they're flat bad. Like, their damage, their defense, everything. It just, every time I use them now, I'm just like, ugh. So, I'm praying that their EZA is good, because they really need it to be good.
Yeah.
Well, we will be talking about them once we've got through all of the units that we've got now. But
Yeah.
there's, I think a lot of people are looking forward to seeing what
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah, definitely so. But this 21 is, like, I think you could almost say she's very consistent defensively, which is kind of weird because she's like a little RNG with the supers, but even transformed, it's like there's still 70% chances and you get 2 of them. So at least I think more often than not, you'll get at least 1 super to go off. And then if you get the hidden potential system 1, she can cook. Again, my favorite thing about her is that healing aspect, because her team, around like 600, 650k HP, but then she's like healing every turn when she transforms. It adds up quite a lot. If she's like triple supering, so that's like 15% HP each turn in the middle of the fight. So like you can get supered in slot 1, then she heals that damage you would take, or AoE, stuff like that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I actually do think that she's underrated as well. I've seen a lot of people say that her damage is not good or like not good enough, but like you said, I feel like one of the things that really makes a huge difference that I sort of noticed after doing my 55% showcase, where I did it as soon as I'd pulled her and awakened her, so she was all level 1 links. She has a lot of links that get significantly better at level 10, especially obviously the fact that she has big bad bosses. I had a run, I can't remember which event it was, but I was using our boy Toon, his rainbow level 10 links 21 friend, and on the rotation with, I think she's linked up with the Evil 21 in slot 3, so she had like basically all of her links active. I think it might have even been like Bulma in slot 1, because I think she shares the only link with Bulma that she doesn't share with the Evil 21, so she has all 7 links active, like rainbow level 10 links, Bulma support, and she did like 4 11 million attack stat super attacks. Like, that's wild. I mean, that's really good. I don't understand. Like, obviously that is like her best turn on that team, but like it goes back to what Minato said with the I think one of the things that makes her really good is like the utility, right? Because not only is she doing those super attacks, honestly, even if they're only like, because mine is 69%, right? So mine's doing like 3 or 4, like 7 million attack stats, which I think is still pretty solid when you consider that, yeah, not only could she get up to a ridiculously high level of defense, but each of those supers is healing you 5% as well. I feel like she's not a unit where, like, damage is not her main focus, right? So the fact that she doesn't necessarily do the craziest attack stats, I feel like that's not a huge detriment to her as a unit, right? So the one interesting thing, though, that I will say, I was talking to Goresh about it today, funnily enough. I remember mentioning it while I was doing my 55% showcase, and he said the same when we were talking earlier. It's very weird when you look at her design, when you read her card, like in base, she builds up crit chance, and then when she transforms, she just loses all of it completely, which is really weird. And a lot of other units that do stuff like that, they build up that kind of stuff, but then they keep it when they transform. So, because like when she transforms, her kit doesn't have any crit in it, like whatsoever. So it almost feels like it's supposed to carry over, and it doesn't for some reason. So a best case scenario would obviously be that it is actually like bugged and it gets fixed or something, because then obviously that would be a buff for her, which would be cool. But it seems very odd that she doesn't keep it.
The one thing is that I think the reason why is because they specifically state, I mean, they stated in the Dokkan line actually says that as well, but in the Dokkan producer's letter, it says specifically that the 21 normal possesses a passive skill good for attacks, and then the transformed good is supposed to be more excellent for defensive skills. So since it's an active skill, they're thinking maybe you don't have to transform the 21 if you want more damage. You can keep that 21 out, where she has the additionals of the crits, or you could transform. But it would usually this character still, like you said, bring over the crit. So I think giving her like a baseline high chance to crit would actually help her a lot, especially with people who were saying she's, not enough damage wise.
Yeah.
But I think the thing about that is most people who are saying that are talking about her base form, I think, for the most part, because her base form is, I would say, lacking in damage, because she'll get that extra 60% attack and then she can do decent attack stats. But that's after she dodges, and then that's like after she attacks potentially. So she's like in slot 2 or 3, where she'll have less chances to dodge even. And if she doesn't even dodge, then you're not even gonna get that attack passive, and then her damage is probably around like 5 mil attack stats, right? And it's like that's kind of funny for a character who's trying to do damage, and honestly, a character who like it's also just like kind of it's like this team. Most teams really want a strong defensive character like she is, I would argue.
Yeah.
But then it's like this is like one of the only teams that actually wants some extra offense, because I feel like it's filled with support units, right?
Yeah.
Like Boma, MVP 17. You have the new 21 can do decent damage. The evil one, right? With her, she has bold crits and stuff like that. But like the team wants more damage. Like you're running Toa. So it would be nice if like the base 21 maybe had a bit more in terms of offense, or I don't know, that 60% attack when dodging. I just don't see why it's like that.
Yeah.
Considering her dodges after she attacks, it's kind of weird, but whatever.
Yeah, she's definitely interesting. I think, like you said, her team, I think, is definitely one of the weakest things about the unit. Like, her team is an interesting mix of units that get the 200% leader skill. I mean, hey, we finally have a 200% lead for AGL LR Super Boo, so
yeah, that's
true. Interesting. But I'm definitely having a lot of fun trying her out on like builds on other teams as well. So that's something that I'm going to be doing some videos about in the next few days. But yeah, overall, I think she is good, and we'll have to see. How we get on in other events and stuff. So obviously we mentioned her very briefly there, or at least Minato did. We have the banner unit for the banner is the Evil 21. I think I said it when I did my news video. I got so confused when they posted the tweet of the animations, because obviously, they always put the side banner unit first. But when I woke up and saw the tweet on the day that it had come out, because it came out, it was like 8 a.m. UK time or something. So I woke up and saw the tweet, and obviously all I knew at that point was because of the news teaser we'd had the day before, I knew that it was going to be a 21 Dokkan Fest. So the first animation that started in the video was Evil 21. So I was like, wait, does she transform into Evil 21 and they've just put the wrong super attack at the start of the video? And then literally the animation after that one played was then Human 21. I was like, wait, what's going on here? So yeah, Evil 21. So 21 is her own banner unit, but I do think that is very good, because I did see one like initial very early criticism, which I feel like was probably just a off the top of the dome kind of initial reaction thing. Someone saying like, oh great, like another super unit that has an extreme side banner unit. But I feel like it's probably the perfect choice for her, because her team, it doesn't really care about super or extreme units. And even though she is a super class unit, I think she is the only one, right? Well, not this one unit, but Android 21 specifically, because there's the free-to-play int one. Is she like one of the only superclass units that has big bad bosses? So
SR based form Vegeta.
Apart from that random resurrection of Vegeta, But there's so yeah, like her side banner unit being extreme doesn't really make any difference, because they share every link except for one. And yeah, I mean, I'll start us off for this one, because I'll let you guys go first for the AGL one. But like, all I really want to say about her is that I got the one copy of her at 55% now that she's fully link leveled. I think she's really good. She is one of those units that you use where I think she's very useful on the team. I usually run her on the different builds that I'm using at the moment, using the AGL 21. And she kind of is an interesting enough unit that I don't know the right way to describe it. I feel like there's not many units that get into that niche for me, where I've like pulled the one copy of her, and she's really solid at 55%. So even though she's just a banner unit, I'm never going to chase a banner unit on a banner. But I want to have extra copies of her so bad, because I think she's actually quite impressive at 55%. So I really want to see her with like, get the 2 dupes, get the gold slot unlocked,
stones right now,
all this kind of stuff. Because, she has the intro animation that gives her the chance to do an additional super. Obviously, at 55%, she only has the level 5 additional. I have had, of all the events I've used her, I have had so few turns where she triple supers. So she either gets the intro one or she gets the hidden potential, but she doesn't get all three. I think it's happened like once or twice. So obviously her with dupes, throw some additional on there. She has that built-in crit if you're below a certain amount of HP or the enemy is, which is quite interesting. Yeah, I think for a banner unit, she is pretty solid. So, Minato, what do you think?
Man, you're tempting me to like want to use these 100. So I'm just saying, like,
Do it for the podcast. Pull both 21s in one multi right now.
I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna put it on the camera. But I think that hold on, wait, my left ear just started ringing. That's really weird.
Dude, my right ear started ringing like 5 minutes ago.
Dude, it's like I heard like in my left ear, like it got quieter, and I'm like, that's weird. Maybe I'm going deaf. You know, who knows? Anyways, I like the Evil 21. I hope not. The Evil 21 seems pretty good to me. I do like what she's able to cook, right? And her sharing all the links with the new 21 basically is very helpful as well.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of sucks for her that obviously since we can't get big bad bosses with the Dokkan Fest 21 until she's transformed on turn 5. We're not able really to see her with big bad bosses, which would give her a lot of extra stats, right? Which would be nice for her just to have, but at the end of the day, she has the 21% reduction. She's able to live normals very easily. I'm not sure, like, I feel like at the rainbow level, she could probably live even super attacks, like, given her intros up. Which is obviously sounds pretty good to me. That super attack effect is just really insane. You could even float her off, and she's pretty safe as a floating character. So overall, I think she's just a very nice, helpful option added to the team.
Yeah, I think I was just going to say, actually, that is one thing I forgot to say, because we mentioned it briefly when we were talking about Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Broly, even though he is not very good. Unironically, I'd say Evil 21 is better than Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Broly. But
the multi.
One of the things I do really like is this thing where if they are specifically designing units to potentially be floated off, having the raised defense for 4 turns, so that then even if you float them off, they still have those stacks when they come back around for the next time. I think that's like a really good design choice. So, but yeah, Theo, do you have any extra thoughts on her? I know you haven't pulled her yourself, but actually, no. Wait, hang on. I know I needed to bring it up. I should have brought up the tweet before. We have to call out our boy Theo over here.
Me?
Where is it? I need to find it here very quickly.
I think I know what you're about to say.
I think you do know.
Stick to my guns.
Monato's about to show his terrible multi here. So while he shows that to the camera.
Again, did you get Yamcha twice? Yeah, what?
A waste of 100 stones.
Dude. I actually got really excited. When I pulled my second copy of Android 21, the AGL one, it was just Chaozu and Piccolo flying in. No animation, Super Saiyan 2, and she was just randomly in the multi, and I had 50 stones left, so I was like, well, I'll do one more, and it was literally Chaozu and Piccolo again, so I was just like, oh, do I dare to dream? But yeah, that one was just trash, so.
Dang.
I got my 21 off Beerus and Whis flying together. Man,
dang, you were really cooking
for the carnival banner. Darn you, Ningen.
Right, here we go. This is it. I
sounded like a Scooby-Doo villain. No, you Ningen.
I'll get you next time. Right.
I'll get you
Here it is. I found the tweet. So, Dokkan Assets, Evil 21. And I quote, according to someone, this is supposedly a quote from your video, word for word, so it might be slightly out.
From my video, what?
Well, it was either your video or your reaction. Maybe it was a tweet. I don't know. Someone quoted you, so I'm assuming it's from something. But gotta say though, this has got to be one of the most dookie intro animations of this year. The animation in motion isn't bad, I guess, but man, it's just so lame. At least the aura looks nice. Defend yourself, sir, because I realize there's not like a huge amount of motion and stuff in it, but I thought her intro animation looked cool, considering she's a banner unit. I mean, come on.
I mean, it's all right. I think, like, no, definitely on some haterade,
yeah.
No, like, here's the thing, right? The problem is the part that they took it from is like, not only is the framing a little bit different, that I feel like the framing of the shot in Fighterz is a lot better than the way that it looked in Dokkan. I feel like with Dokkan, even when they take it from other stuff, they tend to try and make it a little bit more like interesting sometimes, and like kind of either mix it up or improve upon it. And they just like had her teleport in, stand there, and then the aura just appeared, basically. Like, the animation in motion, right? I don't think that's bad by any means. Like, I wouldn't say, like, what's there is bad, I guess, right? In terms of, like, how it's animated.
Right.
I just think that they could have done more with it, basically, and made it more interesting, essentially. But always do keep in mind, you know, of course, when it comes to me, I'm extremely nitpicky and always very, like, analytical about these things. So I know that, it's obviously I'm never like you know, offended if somebody doesn't agree with me or something like that for, you know, an opinion on Dokkan.
I know. I just thought it'd be funny for the memes. Somebody posted the quote.
Right.
Someone posted the quote
right.
actually in the trash takes tweet as a submission for this week.
Yeah,
So
I'll defend myself for my
so
trash
just
takes.
just as a bonus for you guys, because we love to do it during trash takes, I've put a poll in the chat. Is that a W or L take from Theo about Evil 21's intro animation? Is it? And I quote, the most dookie intro animation of this year?
Okay, to be fair, I did cover my butt because when I made that tweet, I specifically typed one of, and I think people didn't see that word. I don't, because people every time
the backpedaling.
Yes, of course. I think every time I make a tweet where it's like something that I know somebody's gonna be like, oh, naturally, I always try to like make some kind of like you know, have some linchpin type of word in there where it's like, well, you see, that isn't actually what I meant because blah 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 blah. So yeah, I think it is definitely one of. There are certainly like worse intro animations that have come out this year. I would say, and a lot of people in the comments said it, and I would agree. The Blue Boys, like, you know, Vegito Blue Boys, I think their intro is far worse than 21's intro. That intro, if you want to talk about dookie intros, oh my gosh.
Waste stones. Dang it.
But
Hey, I wasted all my last stones earlier, so you joined me.
honestly, I thought about it, but nah. I'm gonna save. I would rather be, you know, smart about it. But...
free to play or something, man?
No, well, I mean, I certainly cut back a lot, but no, I usually just at this point I'm mostly getting the whatever the monthly stone pack is or weekly stone pack. I forget what that thing is actually called.
Yeah, the subscription thing. I think that's probably like the best value thing in the game, to be fair.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, so and I will say on regards to that, I'm sure that also the reason why people took that so bad was because I would use the word dookie, because I don't know anyone else who uses the word dookie to describe something like that. So I'm sure people are like, huh?
You love to see it.
Disappointed in you, Dokkan. It's disappointed in you.
I know,
that's fine. I know. That's okay.
Well, there you go. So
right.
The unit is good. Dookie intro though, supposedly.
Dookie intro.
The chat. Unfortunately, Theo, how does it feel to be on the other side of the trash takes?
I would be on the other side of history, baby.
We got the 68% L take. So
you know what? You know what? I thought it was gonna be even higher than that.
Allegedly,
so you know what? I'll take it. Allegedly, yeah. Allegedly, that's true.
Okay, so no, it's all fun and games. We love Theo, really. So let's we'll move on to the next unit to talk about here, which you didn't need to pull for, Theo. So I don't know if you've gotten a chance to use her yet. But we have the free-to-play Android 21, the int good Android 21. I think most people, probably we all did ourselves. I'm sure everyone did in the community. As soon as we saw the teaser for the 21, it was like, well, she's getting her EZA then during this celebration. Yeah. And obviously she did. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the free-to-play Android 21?
Honestly, I gotta be honest. I have not even touched this unit, unfortunately. I was not only was the other problem too was that when all the 21 stuff came out, I was like mega sick. So like I wasn't as in the zone with my Dokkan stuff as usual. Ironically enough, when you were saying about that thing with Evil 21, that exact same thing happened to me where I was like, why does she transform from evil to normal? What's going on here? And then I looked at the units. I was like, oh. So I'm gonna let you take this one because I actually unfortunately have no idea on free to play 21. I'll have to take a look at her kit as well. Let me pull it up actually.
I do have my I actually recorded my showcase for her today. It will be going up after the podcast, so I'll let Minato go first, and then I'll just cover any other details after.
Or just passing it down.
Just passing it around. Well, I don't want to spoil my video too much, but I'll give my thoughts based on anything Minato doesn't mention. So,
I think she's good. Fun enough, haven't finished learning her, so I haven't actually used her.
I see.
But
We're all slacking today.
I use her a little bit, right, in some showcase videos, and she seems like she'll be fine. I don't think that she's anything crazy for a free-to-play unit, but she's supporting. She gets decent defenses, build her full dodge. I think she could be a decent option for the 21 team. And I think honestly, one of her biggest pluses is that she's gonna share like 6 links with the new 21, 5-6 links or so. So that's gonna help out quite a bit. And I think I like her overall. She has some healing, I believe, as well on her super attack effects. So again, just another healing you could put. Like the new 21, she's healing a lot. Then this free to play 21 is also healing. It could look pretty cool, but I think again, like always, just add her 50% dodge chance. Like she gets extra stats when it's a full Android rotation or power absorption rotation, correct? Right? I think I remember translating her like, yeah. So she gets that, and then she gets the seal. Take away that seal, make her 50% dodge chance, and then bam, she's actually really good. Well, nope, they said no. We're gonna give her a stupid seal that no one cares about. Like, okay, man, who cares about?
Well, what do you mean? You can seal hearts. She'll be cooking.
True. All right, yeah. So I'll take the reins back since I've done my extensive showcase for her. It will be up after the podcast, so I don't want to spoil it too much. But yeah, she's really good. If you get the full rotation where you have the androids and power absorption allies, not only does she get a buff from having those allies on rotation, it's like 21% per hit android and per crossover power absorption on the same rotation. So you can get was it 84 in total? Then she gets 121 on super if the full rotation is both of those. So you obviously, I put it in the title of the video, so it's barely a spoiler. But on her best turn with support, I had her do over an 8 million attack stat on the full power absorption and androids rotation, which for a free-to-play unit, I'd say is pretty good. Defensively, I think she gets up to around 500-600k with support. But she doesn't really have any other defensive tech. So whilst she, on some of the best turns in that video, she absolutely could tank all the normals in the game, apart from maybe physical, like Fusion Zamasu. But the problem is, without any defensive tech, it just means all the big bosses, she's basically going to die to their super attack, which is unfortunate. But she is her role, I guess, really is to be a floating third slot support unit. She does give that 30% support. She heals on super, which is nice to have at the end of the turn. She just kind of fits into that classic spot that support units have kind of been in for years, where it's like if you bring them on your team as a third slot floating support, you're basically just praying they're not the one that gets hit with a super attack at the end of the turn. And she just kind of is another one of those units. But she just reminds me of like Demon Goddess Toa, who is obviously better, but just in the sense that she's a support unit, but she's also throwing out some pretty solid attack stat numbers, which I think is quite nice. The only thing I would say is a detriment to her on 21's team specifically, and also probably for the other teams that you could throw them onto, like crossover and stuff like that, is she needs to have the androids or power absorption full rotation for her to be at her best. So if you're using her as a floating support unit, I would imagine most people are probably using her if they've got her because she's one of the best units in the game. Bulma is obviously a very strong unit for Android 21's team, but if you're running her as a slot 1 unit on one of the rotations, it means that when this Android 21 floats into slot 3 on that turn, she then doesn't have a full power absorption or androids rotation, so she misses out on a huge amount of stats. So I would say if you're not running a full power absorption or androids team, she goes from being really good to being almost unrunnable because she loses so much of those stats, which is kind of interesting. So if you don't have LR Bulma, she's like a really good option for 21's team. But if you do, you probably want to be running LR Bulma. So the only other way she
Yeah.
would work is if you kept her on rotation on one of the other turns, which, I mean, if you don't have enough units to make the strongest version of 21's team, you could do. I mean, I do it in that showcase video that's going up later. We beat one of the red zone events, so it can be done, but obviously you would ideally probably want to have a stronger unit like on main rotation. So I do think she is good. But yeah, make sure you guys check out the video after the podcast. Let me know what you think in the comments. But yeah, for a free-to-play unit, I think she's very good for her EZA. And that will lead us into the other new unit that we got straight out the gate, which is another free-to-play unit who does not have an EZA yet. We'll talk about when we could potentially see that after this. But we got the very interesting and I would say very cool, kind of unique sort of angle for a unit here. We got the Android 18 linked state. So the Android 18 with Android 21. Pretty awesome that she has the unique name. So obviously you can run her with other Android 18s.
But they couldn't give Zamasu a unit. Okay.
Well, he's not Zamasu from Fighterz, you know. So
right. He's not Link State,
exactly.
Right, of course.
So so Minato, tell us your thoughts on the free-to-play physical Android 18.
I think she seems fine. Again, it's free-to-play characters who are trying to like do some damage. I'm just not really a fan of because you're just never gonna replace what a summonable unit is gonna do. For a free-to-play unit, she seems decent. Again, I haven't been able to use it just yet myself, but I like that she has the HP recovery if you're under I think the HP threshold, which is pretty nice. And then she also has the like extra attack buff that she can get under the HP threshold, which is pretty easy to activate. I just feel again slap like I don't know in the third slot she guards or something like that. Like those defensive mechanics are so important, especially for free units whose defenses are just going to be lower, right? Like maybe she can crack in some situations 500 to 600k, but even that sometimes is not enough to tank normals anymore, right? Which is kind of crazy.
I know.
So it's just they could have given her more, and then she gets no multiplicative buffs when I'm taking a look at like. And that hurts her. She has the 50% raise for the turn on super attack, right? Which is nice, but still no multiplicative buffs in her passive, which is probably why she doesn't cross beyond like 700k plus levels of defense. And it's like, you know, she's supporting, and I don't really care about the damage she's doing because I view her as a floating support unit.
Yeah.
But then she's also not able to tank. So in the off chance she takes a couple of normals or even a super attack, you know, she could struggle. And she's also restricted to a certain team, but for what she's able to do as a free-to-play character, I will take it. It's better than like straight up sucking, right? She has some value to her, so I like her overall.
Yeah, Theo, any thoughts on this interesting free-to-play unit we all got?
Yeah, so first of all, I thought that like, you know, not only was it just an interesting it was a good choice, right? It was an interesting choice for obviously just giving us like a random free-to-play unit. I think for me personally, the most interesting thing about this character, honestly, is like nothing to do with the character, which is so weird to say, but the fact that we got another free login bonus unit, I was just like kind of like almost baffled because I swear we have not gotten a unit from the login bonus in so long. Like they've always just been like, oh yeah, of course, you know, story event, farm it up. So I thought that was kind of cool, that we finally got another one. Like, I can't even remember, maybe the last time was Anniversary? But obviously, Anniversary, we always get, like, you know, one, like, Goku or whatever that's, like, the free Anniversary unit. I feel like in terms of, like, a login bonus unit, I feel like we haven't gotten one in, quite a long time, honestly, like, besides the Anniversary one. So, I don't know, I just thought that was kind of interesting. And... Yeah.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I didn't want to interrupt, but you know what's funny is I could actually put it in the form of that good old meme. But if I had a nickel for every time we got a physical Android 18 login card, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's strange that it happened twice. True. So shout out to anyone out there who has the 2018 Kimono Android 18 login card in their gift box. So
they never give us an Android 19 card, man. What's going on?
Yeah, I actually did, funnily enough. I can't remember when I did it, when I link leveled her just for the lols, but I did a level 10 link showcase for her like earlier in the year, I think, and obviously she's terrible, but yeah, good. I'm really surprised they only did that the once and then never again, but
I know. Well, and like, isn't like I mean, kimonos are for a lot of holidays, but isn't like kimonos also associated with New Year's
It's a big
lot?
thing for New Year's festivals in Japan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm surprised they haven't done that more. I
You would
mean, like
think
they could do that with so many characters.
want
every single
kimono
year they could just
Goku.
do a Peppy Gal's character in a kimono as like a New
Yeah,
Year's
they
card.
could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, kimono Namagoku.
Oh yeah, sorry, Amatsu's in charge
Ripping
now.
the
No, it'll be
kimono.
kimono base Goku.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
The kimono base Goku. Yeah.
Right? Obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, Theo, I didn't mean to
dude,
cut
I'm-
you off there. But
Oh,
yeah,
no, you're
it's,
fine. I mean, you are right. That is kind of strange. I didn't even think about that.
Kimono Android 19. Yeah.
Kimono Android 19. I mean, it'd be kind of cool if they did like an actual Android 17 to follow up on that card at some point. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting. It's nice that they did as well. It's kind of weird because it's like a little bit of like you know, I don't know how to, you know, feel about it because I feel good about both things. It's like on one hand, it would be kind of cool if it was just exclusive, like if you were here for this celebration, you got it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also unfair to people who come in the future. It's like, well, I want that card, now I can't get it. So either way, though, I was seeing somebody post about that. I believe it's already in the Baba shop that you can get copies. I think.
Can you? I don't even know.
Right? I swear I saw. Unless I misread that. Either way, though, right? I think that's you know, probably well, maybe not, because I don't know what currency that you would be able to buy it with. Because I know that you get the copies from the missions then. Yeah, maybe I was misinformed then. I swear. Well, here, let me look at Dokkan right now.
I don't think she's.
I don't think she is in the shop.
The link,
I don't know what
Oh, are you talking about the Link 18?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were no, the Link 18 won't be available until the celebration ends on the 13th. Then you can
Yeah.
purchase her with me.
Right. Yeah. That's what I mean. I mean, it's cool that you can, like, it doesn't, like, obviously for the celebration. That's what I meant. I meant that it's cool that you can, you know, like, basically get her, obviously, after it ends. So that way, obviously, if you weren't here for the login bonus, then, you know, you're not basically just, like, out of her forever. Not like it, you know, I mean, to be fair, it's not like, you know, you're missing out too much if you never get this character. But still, obviously, you know, just for the sake of having it, it's still cool to be able to get it. But yeah, that was basically it for me. I thought that it was cool that, you know, like it's just a more unique thing to Fighterz as well, with the whole link state thing. But yeah, that's basically it for that 18. I do hope that she gets an EZA in the future, but
I do agree. I think eventually
Yeah.
she'll get an EZA, but who knows?
Yeah,
I mean, she's
probably.
the Fighterz character, so she can get an EZA when Fighterz gets another collaboration, right?
Yeah, that's true. I do wonder when they do another Fighterz like collab in the future, or if, I mean, I assume they will, because obviously, you know, they've done one multiple times, so it only makes sense. I wonder who the next Fighterz character will be, but we'll save that speculation for
Make
another
it like
time.
one of the dramatic finishes, Go Vegeta's, right? When they do Kamehameha.
Could you imagine? But yeah, one of the things I was going to
That'd
say
be cool.
actually is, what do we think about? Obviously, you know, as a free-to-play unit, it pretty much always happens at some point. She will get an EZA. Do we think it will be during this celebration? Do we think it will be further in the future? Because I think to give my 2 cents on the unit very quickly, I agree with basically what you guys said. She's pretty decent. She's runnable. Funnily enough, I actually used her in my run against Fusion Zamasu earlier. Now I got lucky because she took like 170k from his normal attack, so she only had to take like 2, and so I didn't quite die, and then 21 kind of heals you all back. But I feel like if she gets a decent EZA, like she could definitely be a solid unit for that team, because she's giving specifically androids that are also crossover 50% defense, which is pretty good. So
That's pretty good.
if she got a good EZA, I think she'd be pretty solid. So do you think we will see that during this celebration? I know a lot of the time people complain when units get their EZA straight away. Yeah. We did have the example of the STR free-to-play Yamcha, who they actually waited a while for him to get his EZA, and then his EZA was actually really good.
Really good, yeah.
Yeah, so what do you guys think?
Honestly, you know, weirdly enough, in that vein, I'm kind of hoping that it's not now, because then not only will the EZA be better, but then that like soft confirms another fighter celebration in the future, which would obviously be really cool, because, you know, they're always super fun whenever we have one. So
again, yeah, give us that Dokkan Fest Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta doing the the Fighterz Kamehameha or the Blue Vegeta.
Yeah,
Whew, that'd be sick. Like imagine like worldwide is like double Gogeta again.
that would be wild if they really
That'd
did
be
do
funny.
that.
But yeah, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Basically, it's a time will tell type beat. Basically, so.
Yep.
I will say though, if that does soft confirm it, I will really wonder who they will pick next, or if it will be in a like Dokkan Fest celebration again, or if it will
Probably
just be random one.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like they probably have no idea themselves. They're like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
let's
sure.
do
I
Dokkan.
mean, well, unless they somehow have that in their plan till year 10, because obviously we know that they got till year 10 planned.
I guess, but like, man,
That does seem a little
the last-
far-fetched. I
the
agree
last
with you,
Fighterz
yeah.
collab we got was in 2018, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
maybe not.
Really, that long ago? Wow, that's
when
crazy.
that's when STR18 came out.
Yeah, it's
Wow,
one of
that's
those things.
wild.
Yamcha, they didn't have to wait super long, right, to have another celebration that was kind of tied to DB Saga, even though obviously the 23rd World Tournament units don't actually count as DB Saga. But even so, like, it was a good way to have those kind of things linked up. But yeah, unless we get another Androids themed celebration, which seems unlikely considering we just got new Android 17 and 18 on JP not that long ago, it kind of feels like, yeah, they'd either have wait ages or like where are they going to slot it in? So
Right,
I think we've talked
exactly.
about it before. When it comes to free to play units, I think it's perfectly fine to give them an EZA in the celebration that they release in, because whilst I don't excuse this thing of like, they make an SSR or make a TUR and it kind of sucks and then it gets an EZA straight away and then it's good. It's kind of like, why not just make the TUR good? But I feel like with free to play units, it's more so the case of you want the unit to have an EZA, because as long as the unit's good overall, just by the virtue of being an EZA unit, you've got the higher levels, you've got the higher stats, it gives more HP to the team. So especially if you are like a free-to-play player, you probably want those units that you're putting on your team to be EZA'd over not being EZA'd. And like we said, with free-to-play units, rather than doing a good TUR and giving them an EZA later, they could just do another free-to-play unit later that is also good,
Yeah.
right? So,
Right, exactly.
because like I say, I think she's pretty solid. Like, I've used her on the team, but she definitely could be better. So if she got an EZA during this celebration and it was actually good, then, I mean, I could probably see myself running her on 21's team, especially if it's going to be like, because I doubt she'd get guard, but if it's going to be against like an int boss or something, like I could definitely see her making it onto the team for certain builds. So I do think that would be interesting. Also, we have the TUR art. I did think the SSR art was pretty funny because it's like modern 18 and then it's 21, like giving her the old Android 18 costume, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
But yeah, so free to play Android 18, pretty solid. Hopefully gets a good EZA. Will it be this celebration? Will it not? We will hopefully find out soon.
We'll find out.
I guess the thing is with the celebration seemingly, unless they do reveal more soon, not having an actual part 2, as far as we can tell. I guess if she was getting an EZA, it would probably have been and in the news already, but maybe we'll find out after the next day of download or something, who knows.
Yeah.
So
I mean, again, part 2 could easily just end up be subbing Fighters and they just extend the celebration. Like they could.
yeah, exactly. It's we'll have to wait and see. So, but yeah, so that does it in terms of the units that we actually got. Now, obviously, we got a few events as well. I thought we'd just go through them very quickly, but we did get the new. It was essentially like Infinite Dragon Ball History, right? The Android 21 event. I actually can't remember what it's called now. I'll have to bring it up here. Was it like the something of the new Android?
Ambition of the new Android.
There you go. So at first it's like, oh, what's this? And it's basically just an Infinite Dragon Ball History stage with a different name. Even the mission formats are exactly the same as Infinite Dragon Ball History. It's like use 3 units from 2 different categories, beat it within a certain number of turns, and then like beat each phase once. So you can do them all in one go if you build the right team. Made you sad?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Minato first. Then. What are your thoughts on this event?
Look, I knew it wasn't going to be that hard, but I was coping. So when I hopped into the event video, I was like, okay, hopefully it's hard. It's a challenge event, right? But it could be Infinite Dragon Ball History. And it just turned out to be Infinite Dragon Ball History. And it's like, I don't know. It being in like the news, essentially, right? The producer's letter, like as new challenge events are coming. it made me feel like, okay, maybe it could actually be difficult, even though it's basically an infinite Dragon Ball history. But no, they said no, screw you, no difficult content. That's long. It made me very sad because I thought it could have been cool, but no, it's kind of boring. So yeah. So
I see.
Theo, any thoughts? Did it make you
I-
sad? Did it elicit strong emotions in you as well?
I was very disappointed in Dokkan. I'm going to.
No, I mean, I don't know. Not particularly. Like, I think at this point, it's really weird when it comes to Dokkan events like this. I feel like I've kind of set myself up in the opposite way, which is like I'm a very positive person. I always try and look at the glass half full. But I think it's just because, having played Dokkan for so long and knowing how these funny game devs like to run their game, at this point, I just kind of assume that these quote unquote challenge events are going to be easy. And then that way, when they're not, hard, I don't get disappointed. And then that way, when they are hard, then I go, oh my gosh, so cool. They're actually difficult. Wow. So I don't know. I try and, I always try and like mitigate my anticipation when it comes to difficult content. So I was, like not like shocked or surprised or whatever when the event was, basically just Infinite Dragon Ball history. But again, I mean, it is kind of unfortunate that it's not new difficult content because obviously, it's always just more interesting when you have more like, difficult events to do that, like feel like they have more replayability than, just like, oh, I couldn't do this mission this run, so I need to do the mission again, or I need to do a run again for it. Because I think that makes more of a fun game. Obviously there's more events to do more all the time, but yeah, I don't know. I wasn't really like, I didn't really have any strong, feelings. I wasn't, sitting there crying in my bed, the night that the event came out or nothing. But
I was bawling.
I know. I feel so bad. Poor Minato.
I turned
He
my
got really
camera
sad.
on and I was like crying, just tears running down my face. Just awful. Just like,
that's funny.
Terrible.
I mean,
terrible.
I will say, like, if I'm allowed to expand on this point, I don't know. This is something that I find kind of interesting about Dokkan. I won't go on this tangent for too long, I promise. But I think it's kind of interesting. One thing that I observed that a lot of, I know this is a hot button of a topic, but bear with me here. Private servers. Oh, I know, but I'm not talking about units this time. I'm talking about events. A lot of like private servers that implement their own stuff, right? Whether it be, whatever private server under the sun. Like they'll make their own events and stuff like that. I see a lot of the time, one thing that a lot of these private servers do is that they will make a bunch of different kinds of challenge events that's like actually different, like, or not different, sorry. Well, I mean, true, different, but difficult types of content, right? And so seemingly it's something that people want, right? If people are implementing it into their fan games. So it kind of makes me wonder why Dokkan doesn't like implement more difficult content more often, because they do implement difficult events, but it's like, I feel like we get like 2 big difficult events a year or something, and then maybe occasional stages for like red zones or something, and then it's like, then nobody talks about like any new difficult events for the rest of the time, and we keep talking about the same 3 bosses over and over because we don't get new hard stuff that often. I don't know. It's just kind of a curious thing to me that Dokkan doesn't seemingly want to, or like just have a need to implement more difficult events more often. I don't know. It's just kind of something that I've thought about that I wonder why they don't do it, I guess is my point.
Interesting, Ningen. Sorry, I saw that tweet you had, Ningen.
So yeah, it's an interesting thing, because I've seen a couple of people say in my chats and in like the comments on the video, because I did a video on the event when it dropped. I have seen a lot of people that they kind of do like occasionally this like slower pace, like these slightly easier events, like when we get a new stage of Infinite Dragon Ball history, because it's just kind of a fun event that you can play through with a team that you don't really have to put like, it's not your number one sweaty team. And you get a few stones out of doing it. Like I think if you did that new event and the clone one that we're going to talk about in a moment, just by doing those two events, you get enough to do another multi. So I feel like they're kind of like a event that's like, you summon for the new 21, maybe you pull like one copy of her. Then you could just kind of build like a fun team build with her at 55% level 1 links, and you can go through this event, beat the missions, because obviously she's one of the characters for the specific categories you need. And it's just kind of like a chill sort of run through. And obviously it's not something that we would consider difficult or like end game content, but
right.
I do agree. Obviously there is an issue like Dokkan. We do kind of want more difficult content as well, but I think events like this every now and then are kind of fun. Like just to kind of, blow through with an interesting team that you wouldn't necessarily use. Like I used a mix crossover androids with Rose, and then I used like Super Mirror because he's an android crossover. Like when else am I really ever going to use him, right? So so it's just like I'll throw him on the team, let him stack, and it'd be kind of fun. So yeah, those events are not the craziest. They don't get me like super excited. Or they definitely don't make me sad, but I mean, they're just kind of there, and you get some stones, which is not so bad.
I don't know. It's like I don't disagree necessarily because I do like it is always nice having events where it's like, okay, I can just kind of play through this event and then get some extra stones in my pocket to be able to use for later. I think that those events are nice. But I think that they should be there in tandem with the hard content, right? Because I like those events too, and like I enjoy Infinite Dragon Ball History. That's a type of event that I like, even though it is very easy. I will say, however, for me personally, and I guess this is just different from person to person, but I do know that when it comes to Dokkan content, for me, I do find those difficult events to be a lot more engaging. I mean, maybe it's also because you kind of have to be paying a lot more attention, but obviously I'm not talking about like being on auto, because obviously the first time you play the game, or play the mode rather, you can't have auto on. But and then you can only have it on unless you like replay a mission. But obviously, if you knock out all your missions in one go, I feel like a lot of the time when it comes to those type of events, I just kind of go on autopilot. I'm like, okay, pick a team, blah, 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 it's done. And I'm not really like thinking about it. And the event isn't really that memorable, right? Like as much as I enjoy like doing it and playing it, I'm not like, wow, that was a really great event. Cool. I'm like, oh, great. 50 more stones, which I'm happy about the stones, but it just doesn't make me care about the event. It just see it as, more money in my pocket, basically, in orange rock form.
I think one good thing about it being easy is that it's a collaboration, so it's likely to draw new players that want to get to 21, and then it's like, oh, there's a 21 events, right? So it's like, that's probably the reason why, especially because it's limited time. So for like newer or like weaker account players, since it's limited time only up, it makes sense that they did make it easy, but I still will be disappointed because I like difficult concepts.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I mean, I think it's just like my whole point with that too is that it's like it's just those more difficult events then tend to be more memorable for me and like tend to be more exciting. And after I finish it, I'm like, wow, I feel really fulfilled that I was able to beat this event, with my team and strategize and have a fun time playing it despite it being difficult, it not feeling like it's impossible or like that it can't be beaten. It's that right amount of difficulty that kind of makes you feel like you had a challenge type thing. So I don't know, but I mean, it's like that's just could be said for any event, obviously, that's like a little bit of like a one-off event that's a little easier. But I do think that Minato definitely has a very good point there with the fact that it is a crossover event, right? Because obviously crossover events are how you, obviously get people to come into your game, right? Like people who are interested in, one thing, right? That's how like gacha games that are, like an original story, that's how they get in a lot of players is because of the fact that, they'll have a collab with like an anime or, whatever. And then, they'll end up getting people who come for the collab and then end up staying for the game. So I definitely think that is a good point. That's something I definitely didn't think about, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just interesting to get. I agree with what you said, though. I feel like we should get, if we're going to get these kind of events for a celebration, we should get like this event, which is nice and easy. And then we should also get, like, it kind of ties in, right? Because it is Android 21. Like we said earlier, she's kind of mentioned as part of the Red Ribbon Army hierarchy and superhero.
Right.
I know they haven't done this before to any existing Red Zone. They've only done it with, like, the Shadow Dragons thing. But, like, imagine if they released this event, but then they also released an Android 21 stage for the Red Ribbon Army Red Zone event. Like,
Oh, that'd be sick.
yeah, like, doing something like that as well. I think that would be really cool. But...
yeah, that would be awesome. Well, I guess to be fair, in terms of the canon, technically it's like we don't know if she was an android or if she was human, right? Because it's just her mug plastered there. But
I think on the like family tree in the movie, it's just supposed to be human her. But I mean,
right? Yeah.
She could fit. All I'm saying is, she could fit into the Red Ribbon Army Red Zone because she's like Red Ribbon Army related,
right?
But
But
I think that would be quite cool. But yeah, I agree. Like, I don't mind if they drop these kind of easy events that are just kind of chill, get some extra stones.
Yeah, for sure.
But it would be nice if they then also dropped either a new difficult stage or, as we've said many times in the past, like drop some missions for the Red Zone stages.
Yeah,
like drop a mission for Fusion Zamasu, Broly, Metal Cooler Core that's like, beat this with an Androids team, beat this with a Power Absorption team. Like, that would be kind of cool, right? But
yeah. Was it? I think it was Anniversary. I don't remember what it was. I think it was Anniversary, but there was like whatever event that was where it was like they added a bunch of new like missions for like an older, more difficult event. And that was honestly one of the most like fun things that I think Dokkan added in a while, because I was able to go back to that event that I haven't played in a while and try out some various different teams. I really, really like when they do that. And they don't do it that often. I wish they did more, but yeah, like for that whole difficult boss thing, it's like, I swear like every podcast we talk about like, Sin and Merge Zamasu, and like that's it for like, two like difficult fights. And obviously it's the two newest, but think about that, like, obviously they're both newer-ish, but like that's only like those two in the span of like all this time. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just seems like there should be more. But
yeah, 100%. But yeah, so we had that event. We also had the Attack of the Clones one. That's not what it's actually called, obviously. Clone Fighters Run 'em Up.
So you're a Star Wars fan again, huh?
Well, I've been thinking about rewatching Star Wars recently. I need to do that.
Yeah, so basically the event, we've had a couple of reruns of similar types of events, right? Like we had that Don Kia's Bodyguard thing that was basically like the punching bag event, and then this came out and is essentially like a reskin of it was like the Bardock break through the front lines thing. So you have to fight waves of enemies. The first couple of phases you do get a couple of turns, but by the time you get to the final phase, you have to kill all of them in one turn. So ideally you want to bring AoE units, nukers, nuking items, all that kind of stuff. Honestly, pretty straightforward again. I would say like I got some decent RNG in a couple of the runs, but like I had some janky runs with some like bad starting rotations and everything, like bad RNG with the orbs. Still managed to do all of them in one attempt. I mean, obviously I am in a position where I have like every unit in the game to choose from, but the difficulty level's not super high, right? Like using attack up items, using nuking items at the end, like the orb changing, even like, old units like Tech Margin Vegeta was able to one-shot all of the enemies in the last phase with his AoE super. So interesting event. Not super difficult as long as you have obviously units that are either doing AoEs, doing multiple additional supers, all that kind of stuff. But again, I think that one in total gave, I think it was like 30 stones once you've done all the stages. Pretty good. Yeah, definitely not too bad. It's a little bit boring, I guess, because it's like each of the 5 phases is just exactly the same, but the enemies are a different typing, which obviously, I mean, that is how the Bardock one was as well. But it means once you've done it the first time, you've just got to do it again 4 times, but with different typings. But
the reason why I like that event is because it makes me use units that I don't usually use in other difficult content, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like I get the excuse to use LR Maj and Vegeta, or I got the excuse to use STR LR Broly, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Physical Broly as well. Yeah, like in Triku, the Int Goku, like just Marjunia as well. Actually, I used the double Marjunia teams, and then
me too.
You let him go crazy with his additionals, and then for the final 2 phases, you just use the 2 Marjunia active skills and just kill everyone. So
right.
Yeah,
the Marjunia one is definitely the easiest one if you have them, for sure. because he's goated. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So it was
man,
pretty good.
I love Piccolo Jr.
Yeah, he is. He's pretty
He's
crazy.
I'm so glad there's a Dragon Ball unit this good.
So yeah, a couple of
Oh, man.
events, pretty straightforward. Now, the one interesting thing I forgot to mention it when we talked about the unit itself, but one event we would have expected to see after finding out about getting a certain free-to-play EZA. What do you think about the decision? So there was no Extreme Z area for the free-to-play Android 21. Instead, all of her medals were gotten via missions. And as many of us discovered who like to link level random units even before they get EZAs, one of the missions was to get one of her links to level 3. And if you'd already link leveled her, it didn't count as you completing the mission. So you had to link level a random extra copy to level 3 in order to complete the mission. So
I did not know that.
Apart from
Holy
that
yikes.
technicality, I thought that was kind of an interesting idea. But what did you guys think?
I think it should have auto cleared. I don't know why it didn't, but I mean, I didn't link level her yet, so I was like,
I haven't
okay,
like leveled her
doesn't
either, so I'm
affect me.
cooking.
But yeah, I think that at the bare minimum, at least you can just get a copy and use the blue orbs for link leveling, because it's like
It's kind of
those
a
ones I
waste,
feel like
though.
are the most useless. I mean, is it a waste? Because you could like take a unit into like you could take an I guess kind of, but it's like
To
it
be
depends.
fair,
For us it'd be better, but for everyone else, just farm.
yeah, the flip
Yeah,
side,
that's
to
a
be
lot.
fair, the flip side, we all know, we've all had experiences, whether it's summoning, whether it's where a boss is going to super you. We all know that in this game, RNG can be a cruel mistress. There was someone in my
cruel
chat that said
mistress.
they'd been link leveling the free-to-play Android 21 for about 300 stamina worth of runs, and
Oh
the link
my.
hadn't even gone up to level 2 yet. So
Oh my
it's
gosh.
it can be pretty
I mean-
awkward.
I'd say
Yeah,
yikes.
that's why I was like, you could just use like it's like what 3 blue orbs. Like it's
Yeah.
really not that big of a deal to use them. But if you don't want to, you could always just still like link level it and sure, it may make you get you shafted. But I don't think usually it's not for most people
Yeah,
to be that bad.
Yeah, and
I mean,
like you said, the
let me
blue
look
orbs
at
aren't
the
that rare.
missions.
So, but
Yeah,
it
the
should have
blue orbs-
auto completed.
Um,
Like if you already had a link
It
level
should have
10, it should
auto-completed.
have
I don't
done
know
it. Which
why.
I guess they just didn't
It's really
anticipate.
stupid.
It's probably like an error in the code. It probably should have auto completed. But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I see that. So that's the only mission that is like difficult because it's just SA10, 100% in the potential system, perform 7 steps of extreme Z away. Well, actually, you don't even need to do that because you have it done by that point. Yeah, it's literally SA10, Rainbow, and then Android Assault 2 and 3.
Yeah,
For
and
link
those did
level.
auto complete if she was already rainbow and stuff. So it's very strange. I think it's because
Interesting.
I think
It's
it's
gotta
just
be an
because of
area.
the way they coded it. It obviously is very specifically talking about the link being level 3. So if the link is higher than level
Yeah.
3, you don't have the link
What?
at level
Whoa.
3. So yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of weird, but they should have.
I-
It should have been like 3 or higher or something,
Hmm.
right? So that it could have picked it up correctly. But
Okay, personally, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I don't think it really is, but I am a Extreme Z area hater. I hate Extreme Z areas. Now, I will give Dokkan this. Okay, they have made them a lot better in recent time, right? Because obviously it used to be the thing where it was like, you know, 2 different paths, right? So it would be like the Z hard stage and then the super hard stage, and then you know, it'd be like one side is the white metals and then the other one are the bronze, and then you ironically enough get bronze and silver from the white and bronze, and the silver comes from the bronze capsules anyway. And then obviously the same thing, right, where it's, you know, you get the gold medals and the rainbow medals on the other one on the other side, right? So for me personally, right, 2 outtakes from Theo. Thanks, Annie. Here's the thing, right? With the EZA areas, right? Not only is it just like, dang, this is just a shaft from, you know, like having this be a part of like a big, like personally, I would just prefer if the EZA area with like all these different free-to-play units and stuff was just like a big EZA, so you would get more stones out of it, right? Like they do with like a bunch of units that get an EZA at one time. However, obviously, then they can't like update it with a new unit, right? They can't just add a new stage or just like give you the medals if you already did it, right? That then wouldn't work. But in either way, though, you still get shafted out of the you still get shafted out of more stones. And with that older EZA area way, it was just way too tedious. I felt like it took way too much stamina, right, for a unit that, it depends on if their EZA is even good, right? Then obviously you're farming them and you might not really use them. Nowadays they have streamlined it. It's still not like my favorite event, but it's definitely a lot better than how it was before, where obviously you just get everything, in a straight line. Which is a lot better.
So
but
I don't know why you're saying it sucks.
I was going to say, I feel like now that I would have agreed with you before, but I feel like now that
it's a straight line, it's better, right? I think it's fine. But I'm saying, regardless, though, I think that this is just a lot more like efficient of a way to give a free-to-play unit in EZA, because it's like you're basically going, I mean, besides the link level thing, obviously, if they fix that, like how it worked, then, that's neither here nor there. But I think it's nice because you don't have to go out of your way to like do anything extra, assuming either you, like us, we already have this unit farmed, or obviously if you're a new player and you don't have them yet, then you're just farming them up anyway, right? And so then regardless, you're going to get the EZA done by basically just farming the unit anyway. So I think it's just more efficient, basically, right? You're not really like going out of your way. You're not wasting more stamina than you normally would be to just farm up the unit. And I mean, granted, I guess the only thing is maybe because it's not in an EZA area, maybe you're losing out on a couple stones, because obviously you do get 3 for EZAing. You do get 3 for EZAing her, but I think you get like 5 total or something like that from like a full run of like an EZA area, because you get like the 2 from the stages and then like you get a couple in the missions. But whatever the case is, my whole point is that I think it's just more efficient that you're not wasting more stamina on a separate event. You're just doing it all at once, basically, with what you would normally be farming. That's, I guess, the point that I was trying to get at.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a quicker route to get it done.
Huh? Yeah, exactly.
What was that, Minato?
No, I said your point sucks for like extreme Z areas.
I mean, that's fine.
I think it's just one of those things where it's like the doing an EZA has always been a form of content in some way, shape, or form. So like having it be missions that just auto complete for you already having farmed the unit is obviously cool, because it is like it's much more efficient because you don't have to do anything. But it's I think like I say, now that they're streamlined, I think the extreme Z areas are.
They're all right.
Good. And obviously, now that you don't have to worry about picking which path to go down, and you don't have the annoying thing where you're getting your final run of the stage, and then you get the question mark, so you get extra medals you don't need. Whereas now, because there's just the one path, you literally just do it once and then play it on auto, and usually only have to run it like 3 or 4 times, whatever it is. So it's not too bad. But
it's not too bad now.
Not too bad. So.
And you can run the actual like stage map on auto now too, because obviously before, since you had to pick your path,
that's what I mean. You just run the whole thing on it. So once you've done it once, you can just do the rest on auto, which is cool.
Which is nice.
So
that's cool.
Not too bad. So that wraps up the stuff that we got actually added into the game with the celebration as of now. Now, the other thing, we did allude to them a little bit earlier. We started talking about them a little bit, and we'll go back to them now. And that is, of course, we have the EZA for the celebration announced. I know a lot of people were expecting or hoping potentially that it would be the AGL Android 13, but instead we are going to be getting the EZA for the LR physical Androids. So... I know you started us, so we kind of started talking about it a bit, Theo, and obviously how they've aged very badly.
Yeah, I did. They're stinky.
I really liked this unit when they first came out. Like back in the day when we were in the infancy of categories, I really liked the Androids category. I thought it was quite good. When it was fairly good at the time. And so when these guys came out, I really wanted to pull them. I did manage to get them on their initial banner. I'm sure no one else had quite the same legendary luck as shout out to the homie Goresh for anybody who remembers that absolute insanity.
I do remember that,
Like rainbowed them in like 6 multis or something.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Insane. Yeah, it was so good. But so these guys have been waiting for them to EZA for a while. Since Theo did speak about them a little bit, we'll come back to you, I guess, maybe for the 16 part. But in terms of what they're doing, well, not what they're doing now because they're not great. But Minato, what would you like to see from the EZA for the physical androids?
High chance to dodge, add defense to their support, make them have 178% attack and defense start of turn, make them get defense when they dodge.
Well, there you go. Man's made a concept already. He's just like, I'll just read this out. Like,
I was gonna do a video for it in like a day or two. So
Okay.
You should.
I already have the idea planned. I'm thinking about the 16. I'm really excited for the 16 actually.
Yeah. So I mean, so the LR themselves, when they came out, they were fairly decent because obviously back then we weren't quite yet into the meta where like every unit kind of really needed to raise defense, like on super or have a major thing in their passive. Because these guys, literally as it stands now, they just get 1 key, 78% attack and defense, medium chance to dodge, when HP is 66% or more as well. And then androids category allies 2 key and attack 40%, which was cool for the time. But yeah, I mean, obviously we would kind of want to see the support go up to being key and attack and defense. And then medium chance to dodge. That doesn't really cut it if that's your only defensive tech. So we need to see that go up to high chance.
I
and
mean,
then
what they could do, I mean, best case scenario, if they want to be super nice, what if they do something like 50% chance dodge baseline, then because Android 16% chance to dodge if you're above 66% HP. So then you have like
funny numbers.
You have a 66% chance to dodge if you're above that HP threshold.
Right.
And then if you're under, you'll be able to exchange into Android 16 because that's not turn limited. As long as you have 2 androids on the team, you could exchange to 16 as long as you're under that HP threshold.
Yeah.
So that would be really good. And Android 16, I think he could be very easily crazy. Just slap guard in that boy, make him have a defense raise on his 18 key, and he might be able to cook with multiplicative stuff.
Yeah, because I remember like when they came out, if you got 16 out, he was basically tanking like everything that was in the game at that time, which is pretty impressive. So obviously for him to be able to do that now, considering some of the bosses that we have, they would really have to
they would really have to
juice
crank
this
him
man up on his on the EZA.
Give my boy to choose.
I mean, the thing with him, he already has
awesome.
6 key, 200% stats. Again, give that boy guard, give him defense when guard is activated, and then he greatly raises attack for the turn, the 16. Make it greatly raise attack and defense. And
because he greatly raises defense on his 12 key, so give it to him on the 18 key plus the attack. Then if he gets an additional, you're getting the extra raise as well.
He
I
could actually
he
pretty
could be crazy
even right now. Like let's say he gets 150% attack and defense when guard's activated plus guard. Like I think he could be relatively tanky.
Because the interesting thing as well, I mean, the funny thing is about these guys getting the EZA is that they're not on Android 21's 200% leader skill. They are on the 170, obviously, because they are androids. But what would be interesting is, you make 17 or 16, sorry, this like beast slot 1 unit, and then you're exchanging into him when you've lost a bit of HP. He then becomes this like defensive god in slot 1, and then Android 21 attacks in slot 2 and gets all of your health back from her super attack effects. So I feel like it could be,
that could be cool.
a pretty good combo. But obviously the issue will be, of course, the fact that, depending what they do with their EZA, it's very likely they're going to kind of remain this slot 2 or even sort of floating unit pre-transformation. And then you get the exchange, and then that's when you then want to put them in slot 1. But that could be interesting. Like, I do like units that have those different roles in the different forms sometimes. So it'd be very interesting to see. But I think Androids 21's team specifically is a team that really wants better slot 1 units. So the 16 part of the card would obviously be really useful for her team if the EZA is good. But then obviously the base form, I mean, it's very unlikely that their EZA turns them into a slot 1 god. Plus, 16, right. That is true. The 16 thing is only 3 turns, which is that part of the actual exchange condition? Because I'm just checking, because
it is.
It's
16 for 3 turns.
Yeah, so the problem is that means they can't change it, can they? So
because it's an active skill exchange.
Yeah, interesting.
But I don't think it's that big of a deal if they give them
Although actually,
again at least like a high chance of dodge. Like if everything are like infusions of Masu, like this guy could be around in slot 1 and then you exchange 16 near the end, so that could be good.
I'm just trying to
Yeah.
read where the parts of his card, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at all the details on here. Because where does it actually say specifically that it's only for 3 turns? Oh, it's part of
the
it's
exchange
part of
condition.
their effect. Because exchange for Android. Okay, yeah. Because I was looking at the actual condition itself. It's not listed in there, but yeah, the effect is exchange with Android 16 for 3 turns, which unfortunately would fall under that same issue with the active skill thing, which basically needs a was it like a full app version update or whatever for them to potentially be able to change. So who knows if that's
they need to add like a new table
ever
in the
gonna happen.
database.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
I kind of
unfortunate.
hope that they do that at some point.
Someday.
Yeah, it would
But-
definitely be good for some of these older units that otherwise they just have no
Yeah.
shot of some of these things getting updated, right? Like the whole
Right.
AGL Gohan's transformation condition and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right,
That would be
so
cool. Oh, real quick, if you don't mind, there was one thing I wanted to mention about this guy actually.
yeah, go for it.
That was because I know you mentioned earlier about like people were thinking like, oh, it could be 13. So I think it was shout out to the boy Zed on Twitter.
Yeah.
Is it? He was mentioned this because I kind of actually forgot about this fact. The reason why this guy is getting the EZA right now is because the 16 animation is from Fighterz. It's
true,
one of his attacks from the game. Which is cool that obviously, it's like it's weird because obviously he's not like, a Fighterz like card necessarily, right? Like it's not like he has the Fighterz logo, but he's also kind of a they obviously have the animation referencing it, so that's why they did it for this celebration, which I think was pretty cool that, obviously they kind of decided to still keep it thematic almost and keep the theme. So I just wanted to mention that because, I thought that was cool. So I don't know. Hopefully 13 does get an EZA soon though, because he definitely needs it. But anyway, yeah, that's all I want to say.
Yeah, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. It should be, if I'm right in thinking, it should be data download Monday. We'll find out the details because the EZA comes out on Tuesday, or at least for me.
It won't be in the data download. It'll be before with the information. Right?
Yeah,
well, yeah,
I
it'll
think
get posted on Twitter,
Twitter
won't it? Yeah,
first.
and then the data download will come out that will have the info for like the weakness category and stuff like that.
The EZA details, man. What is going on?
Well, that's the thing, because they did it with the
I don't know.
hero stuff. So yeah, when we're like fully synced, we just need the global to just tweet out the English like versions for everything, so we don't have to wait 40 minutes to put up a news video of like, here's what these squiggly lines mean on the the images that got tweeted out. So
I mean, I think it would still be Monday for you, I think, again, or like late Sunday. But yeah, basically, like for us Dokkanauts, it'd be like Sunday, I think.
Gotcha.
Like in the early morning, right? So
yeah, well, we'll find out soon what they do. If you're watching back the VOD version of this, let us know in the comments what you think they could get or what you would like to see. Obviously, as always, I will do an EZA team building guide once we know what the weakness is, so keep an eye out for that. So yeah, the last thing we wanted to mention here before we move into the good old trash take segment is going to be we talked about it a little bit before with the schedule stuff, so we won't have to spend a lot of time on it. But when it comes to the part 2 LR, we kind of talked about really we just talked about what is global potentially going to do. But when it comes to JP, or if it is going to be same time, do you guys have any ideas or predictions, thoughts, wants, wishes for what the part 2 LR could be? Is it, well, it might not technically be part 2, it could be crossover related, it might not. But what would you guys like to see? What do you think we could see? I'll start with you.
I want to sell. I think I really want just to sell.
That would be cool.
Carnival LR sell, make him a really good damage dealer, somewhat tanky, and then he'd be perfect for the Androids team. He'll have big bad bosses for when 21's transforms. Maybe he could be like Aura Changer. Intel Arcel could get a small resurgence, right? I think he would be interesting. Again, I don't it's not gonna be a Fighterz character in my opinion. It could be, but I don't assume it won't be a Fighterz character.
Yeah. I've seen all the memes of the Super Saiyan Goku Link state.
Yeah,
so.
right. I mean, at least he'd have a different name.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that as Cell hasn't got a character in so long. That'd be good. It could it could be as well. We're talking about main villains. LR Kid Buu.
I mean,
hey,
he would be on Android 21's 200% team, so you know.
Yeah, and it's like he would have big bad bosses. He's healing a lot. That could be interesting, but I'm thinking like androids because the celebration feels a lot very androids like kind of
Yeah.
themes, right? You know, obviously Android 21. We got the free to play 18. We got the 21s, right? We're getting the LR Androids EZA. With Cell, they could EZA the AGL 13, right?
Yep.
And then it's like a bunch of androids buffs for this month, and
Yeah.
that would be cool. They go the androids route because like if Kid Buu EZAs, who would they EZA with Kid Buu, right? I feel like like
we've got there's a couple of these older boots. Funnily enough, because I was looking for units now that I've link leveled the new units. Obviously every day when you do like the Roshi stage and stuff like that, I obviously don't want to take in units that are already fully link leveled, so I just chuck on a bunch of old TURs when there's no new units to link level. And I'd completely forgotten about there's a really old the physical Bootanks. Remember that physical Bootanks TURs? He needs an EZA.
He doesn't have interesting.
No?
And you said in chat STR Fatboo. STR Fatboo.
True, dude.
They could
STR
do that.
Fatboo would go
Does
crazy.
he really not have one still? That's crazy.
Nope.
That's
They
wild.
They could make just like a 30 stage EZA of those two characters together.
Damn, he really doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
We could do
wild.
that stuff like that.
There's
They
also
could
the
just make, like, a
AGL,
Majin one or
the
something.
AGL Skinny Boo from Dragon Ball Super. They could literally just do like a Boo EZA where it's like the 30 stage,
Yeah,
like the Heroes ones, where it's like a 30
Yeah.
stage EZA, but it's like 3 or 4
Just
of these
with
old Boo
Tanabata,
units.
The Frieza Cell and the GT base Goku. From the
Yeah,
Super.
exactly. That would actually be
Something like
really
that, right?
cool.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
But I think Cell would be a pretty good choice.
Mhm.
I think Cell. I feel like because Cell's already gotten like Dokkan Fest LRs and stuff like that, so I'm getting a Carnival R is cool. I'd prefer Kid Buu to get like a Dokkan Fest LR or like during a major celebration, right?
Yeah. At this point, since he hasn't got one in so long, I would hope he would get a big boy unit, for
I mean,
sure.
imagine his super attack is based off. Imagine his intro is the Fighterz scream. He's like, "Ah!"
That would be cool.
That would be sick. The Fighterz
That would be
scream
cool.
intro. Woo! Dude.
Yeah, I was
I
thinking
could already
something like along. I know he's not a popular character for most people, but I was thinking along that same kind of like androids buffs thing of getting an actual LR Super Android 13, and then obviously they could EZA the Android 13. Because he could have the nut punch as one of his super attack animations. That'd be
True.
great.
That is true.
It could also be a thing where it's like completely different, and they give us like a Dragon Fist Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Then the easy the existing
Dude,
one.
Could you
Okay.
imagine? Like,
I'm not gonna lie, that is something that me and the Dokkan homies have been kind of talking about, that we really, really want a Dragon Fist Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Like with one with brand new clean animations, it'd be awesome. And of course, then they oh yeah, 100%. And then they can give our boy that fat EZA that he definitely deserves, considering he's like the oldest.
I love
who
that
don't
meme
have
that
one
just
yet.
keeps getting remade. It's like the SpongeBob meme where it's like Super Saiyan 3 Goku waiting on the docks, and it's like a new LR that's just got their EZA, and he's like, "I'll be next," and they're like, "Sure you will, buddy." Like so many LRs that released after him now have gotten their EZA before him. It's actually crazy.
I mean,
like
it's
if
so
he's not the
sad.
best EZA of all time when he comes out, it's going to be the biggest disappointment. Like
look, I think it's gonna be bad, to be honest. Look at Jiren and Goku Black.
No, don't say that.
He's gonna be
Listen,
bad.
if he's bad,
They designed him like a year ago. They're gonna push him out the same way.
I'm telling you, if he's bad, I might just like deactivate on Twitter. I'm telling you right now.
Dude,
If
they'll
he's,
do like a 15 mil tax stat and then have like 500 hit defense.
oh
the-
god,
he needs to be good. Literally, that is my favorite. Like that is my favorite LR like of all
yeah,
time.
he was my favorite. He was my
they're
first
bringing up
he was my
Goku.
first Rainbow Summonable LR.
Yeah,
When he
mine
came
too.
out, he was like the hardest hitting unit in the game. I've
Yeah.
always loved Super Saiyan 3, so I loved the Super Saiyan
Yeah.
3 team. Yeah, I loved that unit, and then he's just been left waiting. So So yeah, we'll find out hopefully within the next probably week or two what is going on with the Part 2 LR, because I think last year, obviously because of the way the schedule was for Global, we got the Tanabata stuff at the end of November and then moved into the Part 2 straight away. But I believe the banner was on like the 14th of December. So not that far away in terms of when we could potentially start seeing some teasers and stuff like that. So yeah, be interesting to see what we get. It'd be interesting if it is, obviously we talked a bit about sort of like it being Androids related and stuff. The only other thing I wanted to mention is if they do lean into the crossover, because even though like, you know, it could be part 2 of the celebration that's not specifically still Fighterz themed, but is still carrying on this like crossover theme. Like imagine if we got, I know this is probably very unlikely, but if they wanted to keep up the crossover buffs going from Heroes into 21 into something else, imagine if we got like an LR Xeno Trunks and then all of those old like Xenoverse units all got their EZAs, because they don't count as yeah, exactly. You got Mirror. I posted the thing. I realized their categories would suck, but I actually have it as one of my desktop wallpapers. But it's like the Mars Saiyan, Toa, and Mirror. Like they would be on terrible categories and their links would be terrible because it's like a Saiyan, an android, and a demon lady. But like something cool like that, like a crossover LR, I think would be really cool as well. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff they could do, and we will just have to wait to see what it's going to be.
You know, we were talking about it earlier with the Super Saiyan 3 Dragon Fist. What if it's like Anniversary Worldwide is like double Dragon Fist? I had the idea for last Worldwide, but like full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku from the Omega fight doing the Dragon Fist, and then Super Saiyan 3 Goku doing the Dragon Fist.
That would cook.
Oh,
that would cook.
I'll take your entire stock.
Crazy. Yeah, for real.
That fits.
That would be amazing.
That 100% fits GT for Anniversary again. Let's go.
Oh, GT.
But yeah, that was pop off. That would be sick.
That would be nuts. I mean, you know, I will say, I am kind of like weirdly thinking that 3Ku might end up being like the Christmas unit this year for the Dragon Fist, but I think that's only because in my mind I associate that unit so much with like Christmas time, because obviously he came out during that time.
I got him off a single off the banner that came out after, because it's really funny.
That's
it was
funny.
Like it was like this Rivals banner with Goku and Vegeta, and he had been unfeatured.
Oh yeah.
And I got him off a single, and I was like, 5 a.m. getting ready for school.
That's so funny. Yeah, I don't know. That would be cool. I feel like he does kind of like, it's so interesting because like that moment for Dragon Fist has so many things where it could be like, it would be perfect for being another like character in a dual celebration where he could fit with that, but it also has the potential to be like something that could easily stand on its own for that type of thing. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where they eventually put that, because we definitely need one, right? And I mean, I don't know how 3Ku will get an EZA unless we get some kind of Wrath of the Dragon celebration.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And then side banner Vegeta where he saves all the people, please.
I was gonna say that, yeah, we talked about that as like a banner unit or like a whatever, like him having the barrier, so he could be like a really good defensive unit, because Vegeta family hadn't gotten a lot of buffs in a while, and one of the things that because when the support memory came to global, when we got that last Super Battle Road stage, I did a video trying to use like what is currently the best Vegeta family team, and it is not great. And one of the things that they definitely need is like a really good slot 1 unit. So I think that Vegeta would be kind of cool as a banner unit for like a new Wrath of the Dragon celebration. But anyway, so we'll find out what the Part 2 LR is fairly soon. But we are now going to move into our final segment here before all the shout outs and everything at the end. And that is, of course, a lot of people's favorite segment of the podcast, the Trash Takes segment. I feel like in this week specifically, especially because, I mean, I picked this one. I think it's a pretty good one. So obviously this is where we go through takes from the community that can be considered hot takes or spicy takes. They are not necessarily bad, even though that is the name of the segment. Sometimes they are. Sometimes, as we like to say, people really understand the assignment when we say trash takes. But I think this one is definitely on the more interesting side. I did get a follow-up comment as well as a list here that Minato looked up for me so we can go through it in a bit more detail. But without further ado, this is the take for this week. So this comes to us from Violet over on Twitter, and this says, this year, has been one of the best in terms of picks for characters disregarding kits. So obviously when I asked them for a bit more information, obviously they're not talking about how good specifically the kits of the units are, like whether the units were, you know, top 10 TURs or anything like that. They basically say is, what I mean is that a lot of characters this year are characters that either never had Dokkan Fest exclusives, for example, Android 21, or needed new versions of like their previous units like Kale. In that regard, this year has been really great in terms of character versatility. So I did get Minato to look up the list because I almost didn't pick this take because I didn't have enough time to look up the list myself, but Minato got it for me. So
this take.
If we go through,
I didn't have to look it up. Okay. I was sitting there in bed at 3 a.m. and I just knew all the units, so I just typed it out.
Oh, there you go. I just trusted you, so I didn't even fact check it. But
bro got the data download IRL. That's crazy.
So to put it in here in a list, because obviously, you know, we had Orange Piccolo and Ulma Gohan. They were New Year's, so after them, the units that released in 2023. We have obviously the versus Kid Buu Z Spirit Bomb for the anniversary, as well as the versus Omega GT Spirit Bomb. We got the Kai opening based Goku and the Z opening based Gohan. Then we got the Fusing Super 17s, which obviously, again, considering we're not talking about the kits, is a unit that I had wanted in the game for ages. We got God Goku with the intro, the I will not let you destroy my world, which I know a lot of people were waiting for as well. Kale, Super Buu, 23rd World Tournament Goku and Ma Jr. I know that was another hotly anticipated one. We got a new Turles. We got the Tree of Might Goku, Full Power Super Saiyan 4 Goku, the LR, obviously starting off normal Super Saiyan 4 Goku, the Oob Standby. LR Omega Shenron, finally. Super Trunks with the transformation, Vegito Blue with the fusion, and the Zamasu with the Sky Zamasu, Sword of Hope Trunks, Future Gohan, Int 17 and 18 from the Tournament of Power, LR Ribrianne and her crew, the Gohan and Piccolo from the Saiyan Saga, Heroes brought us Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, Super Saiyan 3 Rose, which a lot of us weren't expecting until at least next year, and then a Dokkan Fest for Android 21. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting list when you look at the suspects.
Okay.
So
I think
suspects.
I'll set up the poll here, but if one of you guys wants to go first, what do you think about this?
Okay, go for it. I have a lot to say too, but go for it.
Yeah, it's a very nice, diverse amount of characters. Like I think you have your highs with Vegito Blue, Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, but then you have a lot of characters who needed representation. Kale, the Ribrianne, I think eventually needed LR. The Gohan and Piccolo moment from the Saiyan Saga, that needed a unit, right? Super Buu, I think could have used a unit, right? Super Trunks never got a Dokkan Fest. And
he never shut up. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, he sucks, but at least he's got representation, right?
That's true. That's true.
So it's like, I think it's a very nice diverse cast of characters. And my personal favorite this year is still going to be the 23rd World Tournament Goku and Ma Jr. That's something I've been looking forward to for way too long. They're still like top 5 favorite units to use in the game right now for me. Just so fun. They're really good and fun. This is a great year. The Z Spirit Bomb, I was also really looking forward to a lot. Hearing Goku throw the Spirit Bomb, he's like, eat cans! So good. Okay, I'm done.
All right, Theo.
I mean, yeah. So I would think that this is a W take personally. I think that I am definitely somebody who I like both types of characters, so to speak, right? When Dokkan does these releases that are kind of like these more like out of left field characters that are a little bit more interesting, and then also the characters that are a little bit more like, I don't want to say generic, but almost kind of like the characters that like when they release, people are going to be more excited about them because obviously it's just a more like generally, excitable character, I guess, right? I think that Dokkan did a very good job of having a good mix of those things, right? I think in terms of those type of characters who are just like your hype characters, right? for anniversary, personally, at least I thought that was pretty hype. With the Spirit Bombs, or obviously I think Super Saiyan 3 and Super Saiyan 4 are hype forms that people usually like to summon for. Obviously, right, Godku I think is a great example of that, right? Vegito Blue is a very good example of that. I think even Merge Zamasu, right, definitely a very good example of that. Super Saiyan 4 Goku also definitely on that board. But right, obviously, with giving representation to some characters who didn't have it, that might not be these, stereotypical, like, oh my gosh, so hype type of characters, right? They also did a very good job on that, like Minato said, right? Kale and Super Boo, right? These types of characters, right? Ribrianne got an LR this year, bro. Like, if that doesn't say something, I don't know what does, right? Like, there were a ton of really great choices this year to give these characters, something a little bit more unique, and obviously characters that you might not expect to get a Dokkan Fest specifically. Like maybe you think that they get a unit, but not necessarily be the unit, right? It's cool that they kind of got that. And I mean, even this year, right, with earlier this year, with Kale specifically, that sparked a discussion, I know for me, that I even made like a video about, where I was talking about how, does Kale deserve a Dokkan Fest? And it kind of sparked the conversation that, I saw a lot of people talking about in the community, where it was like, well, what does it mean? Like, why does a character need to deserve it? Or like, can any character just get one? And I think at this point, yeah, I mean, where Dokkan is, it's certainly just any character can get a Dokkan Fest and they can still be really cool. So, I would say this is a big fat W take, in my opinion. I think that that's a very good one. It will as well be interesting to see what they do going forward with this sort of thing. And even, to wrap it up on our me and Ningens, on our baby Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Even the Heroes units had that this year, right? Where it was like a good mix of super hype characters that people were, very excited about, and still some more unique picks. And some of those unique picks even still being pretty hype. So, I think overall, very good job, Dokkan.
Yeah, I think we didn't specifically say it when we talked about the Heroes characters, because obviously we did talk about the fact that this year's ones, I think, were very exciting picks that even non-Heroes fans necessarily were quite excited for. But I feel like it's probably the hypest lineup of the Heroes banner, probably since the year that like the original Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and Broly came out, because obviously they also had Super Saiyan 4 Bardock and Gohan on that banner. And even people like me, right, there are people who don't really like GT, but we love Super Saiyan 4. So I think this banner was definitely one of the most hype lineups. I picked this one because, we do go back and forth on this segment. We do have some takes sometimes that are absolutely garbage. Like we said, understand the assignment, trash takes. But I liked this one because I think it's a more positive one. Obviously, it does make it very clear here we're not talking about the kits, because unfortunately, as I already mentioned, for somebody like me, I really wanted a fusing Android 17s into Super 17, and so to get that unit, like, their animations are really cool. Just unfortunately, the unit is not very good. But yeah, in terms of the picks for characters, I think we definitely got a very nice mix.
Yeah,
I know a couple of people have said, I think someone even said in the chat, right, it was the whole meme about getting like 3 base Gokus and stuff like that. But I think we said at the time when these units were coming out, right, like, we're always going to get tons of Gokus, he's the main character, but a lot of these other characters got a little bit of shine as well, which I think is cool. And characters that we've wanted to see for a while, like we said, for LR Omega finally happening, even though, again, he was a bit disappointing. I mean, we'll talk about him again when he comes out on Global. In a vacuum, he's decent. It's just the fact you have to run him on a team that's pretty terrible. But yeah, we got some really interesting stuff. Also, you could kind of include in this the couple of moments as well, the fact that we've had a couple of Dokkan original things. Because, people wanted a fusing Vegito Blue for quite some time. And then when he not only got a fusing Vegito Blue, but he has the awesome Dokkan original 18 key super.
The Vegito special, baby.
The future Gohan with the active skill with the Goku and Piccolo, which, like, I mean, I know we could relitigate that until the cows come home, but seeing that active skill with because I'm someone who doesn't care about Future Gohan as a character, and seeing that active skill, I almost immediately didn't care anymore that we weren't getting Rose. I saw that active skill and it was like, oh damn, like this is good.
And then what I also really liked is that he did the special beam cannon.
Yes,
that was cool.
yeah,
right. I think they did a great job with him.
Yeah,
Sort of Trunks actually another character I was really looking forward to.
Yeah, and like even Super Trunks again, like despite his flaws, pretty good. Yeah, very interesting choice of units. And I want to just echo something that you said towards the end of your part there, Theo, as well, about this whole thing about like which units deserve a Dokkan Fest. I feel like there is still what I would consider some sort of limit on who deserves a Dokkan Fest, right? Like there's random side characters that I think I'd be very surprised for them to get a Dokkan Fest, but I think the bar is lower than some people think it should be. And also, like, the one thing I see gets brought up all the time, which I definitely disagree with, I just want to make this, use this opportunity to make this point on the record. Even though I don't think, for me, she's not a hype character. A lot of people use this benchmark of saying, like, oh, well, Videl got a Dokkan Fest, so now anyone can get a Dokkan Fest. But, like, Videl is a character who, at the time that she gets introduced in the series, is probably the strongest human in the show that hasn't been trained how to use Ki. And then she marries into the main character's family and has his granddaughter. So she's not like a nothing character. Even if she doesn't do a lot in the later series, she's not like an unimportant character. So it's, I think it's a bit, even though I'm not super hyped on her as a Dokkan Fest, I always think it's weird when people say like, oh, well, if Videl got one, anyone can get one. Because it's like, they, at least at the start of the Buu saga, but before things start going off the rails, they do try and make her out to be an important character. So it's but yeah, I thought this was a good take. Chat seems to mostly agree. 79% for W take. So that is pretty good. I mean, yeah, Annie is right though. You say that, Ninja, but people would still complain about a Dokkan Fest Chi-Chi. I feel like people would, but again, that's a character that I really would not see an issue with. Yeah, exactly. Imagine if the Dokkan Fest Chi-Chi was the one from the 23rd World Tournament and her animations were from her mixing it up with Goku. Like, that'd be awesome.
That'd be sick.
But yeah, I mean, people would complain still, so,
So, then what we get is we get a side banner unit, base Goku, baby. Let's go.
Oh, no. So, yeah, I think that was a pretty good take. Like I said, I thought it would be interesting to have a positive one for this one. It is nice as we get towards the end of the year. Because obviously, apart from knowing this upcoming potential LR, we basically know all the releases, I guess, until we get to the New Year Dual Dokkan Fest. So it's kind of interesting to look back across and actually seeing the list like that as well. And seeing all these interesting characters that we did get this year.
Pretty good.
So yeah, it was a pretty good selection overall. So
I like how this year's
back at it like that. So yeah, that is it for the Trash Takes segment. Shout out to Violet. We'll end the poll there. Mostly W take, so you love to see it. And yeah, we will come back here for the final section here, just to give our shout outs to all the lovely people who contributed to the podcast this evening for episode 14. So shout out to Philip Rodriguez, who donated $5 via Super Chat. It says, do I dare say New Year's will be Beast and Orange Piccolo? Would they do us like that? Yeah, because it'd be like a year later, but it's actual Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo.
Bro,
what do you think?
I'm listen, I've been coping for an actual Gohan Beast for a long time. I mean, it's no exaggeration to say, like, I promise you, I'm not even kidding. I literally cried when they revealed LF Gohan for, like, this one that just came out, LF Gohan Beast. I actually had tears running down my face. So, I would be super excited if they released him for New Year's. I know a lot of people are kind of thinking that he would be anniversary, which I also would not be opposed to. Obviously, that would be, a great choice for him as well. And personally, for me, that would also be super exciting if he was an anniversary tier unit. That would be amazing. I think either way, I would definitely be really excited about that. whether he was New Year's or anniversary. I mean, at this point, bro, like, I hate to say it, but I'd even be fine with him getting a TUR, which I know is crazy to say. I think I've just fallen so far from grace because of all the shenanigans.
The thing is, though, I will say, right, now, obviously we know we can get Dokkan original stuff, but considering he doesn't have a lot of animations to draw from,
right?
Like, you think about how good God Goku is, how good Piccolo Jr. and 23rd World Tournament Goku, Limit Breaker Vegito. Like, if he's a TUR, but his animations are awesome and he's like the best TUR in the game, like, does it matter that he's not an LR? Yeah. Like, not really, right? Like,
no, I agree. And I mean, like, realistically, I feel like with what is left, they have just the right amount of stuff to be able to make him into a TUR, right? Because obviously the main thing is like the little intro and then the smirk and then the special beam cannon, right? But obviously they still have the kick, and obviously they can redo the smirk, and of course we have the, you know, the Cell Max blocking the punch, right? You know, so I think all those things would be perfect for like intro, super, and counter type of thing.
It'd be interesting to see what they do as well, because I remember Truth saying, like, and I don't know how much is information that he actually knows or is just speculation, but they were saying when it came to all the games, apparently they were very protective over the Beast stuff. Like, apparently Legends, they were like specifically told, like, this is the art that you have to use and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know if it would be possible, but because he does do so little in the movie, technically, like in terms of the different kinds of attacks and stuff, he would be the perfect unit if he was going to be an LR for like New Year's or for the anniversary, for him to have a Dokkan original super attack. Obviously, I don't know like what they would do, but yeah. Or imagine give him, like, I know people have mentioned it a bunch, whether it's a duo unit or it's just part of his animation. Imagine they give him like the Xenoverse thing where it's him and Orange Piccolo doing the double special beam cannon. Like, that would be awesome. Amazing. So that would definitely,
I would definitely be down for that.
Very, very cool. So
I think the only thing that makes me like think that he would maybe be New Year's rather than give him the Beast axe.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Too much. That's so funny.
The best thing, the super attack could be called that guy from Fortnite.
The guy from Fortnite. Oh man, that'd be
Beast
great.
axe.
Anyway, I think personally, as much as I would be so down for a Cell Max LR, what did I just say? I said Cell Axe because I got the Beast Axe on my mind. Cell Max LR. I feel like more people would probably want him to be like a TUR, because obviously, you know, he is just kind of like a hulking behemoth. You know, he doesn't really have like a lot of like character to him, I guess. You know, and even though he does do quite a few attacks.
Dokkan original story events. Luscious character.
I was gonna say we got an LR. We got an LR Janemba. This man says like three different versions of like as his super attack quote. So you know
that is true. That is true. Yeah, I would be down for that too. But I would think that, like, you know, if they wanted to do Cell Max versus Gohan Beast, I would think that would then be New Year's, because I would think that they wouldn't do Cell Max for anniversary. I would think that they would do Gohan for anniversary and then something else like as the part 2 or his whatever. So I don't know. I would definitely be down for that though. I know I went off on a tangent, but I'm sorry. I love Gohan Beast, bro.
Hey, there's definitely a lot of potential there. I mean, I can see, you know, we'll get into that on a separate episode, I'm sure, but I could definitely see Gohan and Piccolo and Cell Max and Gamma's kind of shenanigans as part of the anniversary. I feel like anniversary being superhero plus something else, because I don't feel like it has quite enough to carry like a full big celebration like that. But considering the anniversaries are often split between the two things, right, I think that would be quite cool.
So. And Core Breaker for Gamma 2.
Exactly.
We still don't have that as an LR.
Part 2 LR, Gamma 1 and 2 with the Core Breaker, and then Cell. There you go. But yeah, shout out to Philip Rodriguez for the super chat.
Thank you, Philip.
Shout out to Ultimate Warzom for the $2 super chat. He said, okay, this is when we were talking about the Big Bad Bosses unit. Apparently there's an SR tech as well as a physical base Vegeta that have Big Bad Bosses. So
really?
You love to see it. Yeah, SR base Vegetas that have Big Bad Bosses.
That's funny.
I mean, there you go. So shout out to Philip Rodriguez for gifting 5 memberships to the channel. Lightning God Eric, Dave Wilkinson, Meanisban, Silver Clown, and Jesse Wolf. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to Philip. Shout out to Bluebird E22, donated $5 via Super Chat. Thoughts on potential Part 2 LR? So we kind of talked about that a little bit. I was thinking the Dragon Ball Fighterz version of 16 to be a slot 1 tank on 21's 200% lead. and a new EZA trio. That or Android 21 redo. Or Link State Goku. Yeah, there you go. The Link State Goku meme. I did see a few people say it in the chat because obviously there's still another version of 21, like, because obviously there's the transformed evil version, but who's still like the pink, like the Margin 21, like the STR one that still has a unique name. But I feel like getting a new 21, side banner 21, and then a part 2 LR21 is probably a bit much.
That's a little much. Yeah. Well, isn't that also kind of just like an in-between type? That's almost kind of like a false Super Saiyan sort of thing. Like, not exactly, but
well, no, because it's kind of like that's her like Margin transformation, isn't it? And then obviously then she, well, actually no, because the evil 21, I never finished the story of Fighterz. I'm not gonna lie, I thought the story mode was really boring. That's not why I bought the game. But the evil one is different to the good one. I know she has different colored eyes, but she has the
Minato. You would be the only one who would maybe know this, unless chat knows, because I also didn't finish the Fighterz story either. So I'm right there with you, Ningen.
Wait, okay. The question, what was the question exactly again? Like,
so it's like because obviously, so Android 21 transforms into Margin 21, but she's 21 like brackets good. Then there's also the evil version that is still pink, but has like the black and red eyes. And then when she absorbs Cell, she becomes the evil one that is like purple, right?
So like, if I'm not like mistaken, it's like do they not split or something? It's been so long.
That's what I thought. Yeah, there's like a good one and an evil one, I think.
What she basically becomes transformed. Then I believe they split basically where there's the evil one and that there's still the good 21. We have the transformed 21 and we have the transformed good 21.
Right.
Then that transformed 21 further evolves into evil 21. Is how I believe it works.
Yeah.
At the top of my head. But yeah.
So something like that. But yeah, so it
could be that the transform one.
Oh no, that's right. Duh, because we have the STR one who's the evil one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's because technically she's the only one now out of the various different forms of 21 that doesn't have a new card, because we have the base human, the transformed good, and then we have the full-on evil, like cell absorbed one. So but yeah, definitely interesting. We will obviously hopefully find out soon. So we did kind of discuss that already. New 16 would be cool, because obviously that's what we were saying before. Maybe that's why they're EZAing the androids, because there's that 16 connection. So a new Fighterz 16 would be kind of cool. It'd be interesting to see a Fighterz like character that was like a group of characters, because I can't remember. I know the memes aside about like the Link State Goku, but I mean it probably would be Goku, let's be honest, because he's the main character. But like imagine if it was like an LR Super Saiyan, let's say Super Saiyan 3 Goku, because I know that's his like level 3, where when you do his super attack, it's like him doing the level 3 from Fighterz, but then you have like Vegeta and somebody else come in, because you have the thing where like everybody comes in from your team and does their supers. Like that could be their super attack animation or something. That'd be kind of cool. But
that could be cool.
But yeah, something Fighterz related maybe. But yeah, we will have to wait and see. So shout out to Bluebird E22 for that one. Shout out to Drace for the $2 super chat. Dokkan Fest exclusive Super Saiyan Hercule will be goated.
Dude,
how many years in a row have we said that he should be the April Fool's unit? Like,
look, next year for sure. Next year is gonna happen.
Oh man, dude, they need to do it at this point.
Yeah, and then,
it's like people actually want it too.
I know. I mean, to be fair, if we're talking about like the sort of comedy like joke cards, because they could do it for April Fool's or Halloween, really, with sort of the theme of some of the cards we've gotten. Yeah. Like it would be a funny one to do. But yeah, I guess we'll see. One day it might happen. Who knows? But it definitely would be a funny pick. And then this last one, we actually potentially were going to talk about this on the episode, but we've run slightly longer than we had expected. But there's another super chat from Bluebird E22 for $2. So shout out to you. Says thoughts on Battle Hour right before the JP anniversary. So
interesting.
Obviously there's the potential for some kind of teaser. I don't have the image up here, but Minato, we can talk about it briefly here, I guess. Somebody did share something.
That's not the Battle Hour. That was that's the fan meetup.
Oh, that's the fan meetup thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's that.
You could still bring it up. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing's stopping you. Go for it, bro.
Yeah, there's the
Yeah.
image from the fan meetup thing of it's just an image of Goku, but it's like the pose of Goku and the gi that he's wearing basically looks like the superhero Goku, or the like first transformation of UI Goku. And last year when they had the invite to the special fan meetup thing, it was a Goku doing the like. It was kind of like the end of GT Goku,
Yeah.
and then obviously
End of Z,
anniversary.
yeah. I think it
was
ended
end of
up
Z.
being-
End of Z,
oh, sorry,
end
end
of
of Z,
Z, yeah,
end
yeah.
of Z. And then of course the unit ended up being the end of Z Spirit Bomb and the end of GT as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, he's in the superhero pose.
yeah, exactly.
He is.
So,
He is.
I mean, that's one of the things we've been talking about it for a while anyway, but a lot of people were suggesting that this could mean that anniversary is going to be superhero mixed with potentially Tournament of Power because of the UI Goku thing as well. Which
I mean,
is
there's so
very
many
interesting.
Tournament of Power EZAs, superhero could still get touched.
Yeah.
It's very like you can kind of tell, big things are at least coming for them next year. And the question about Battle Hour is right before the anniversary, and we know there's going to be big announcements for Dokkan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it could be, it could be anniversary stuff that they announce. But by that point, we would know if anniversary is going to be synced or not. Before the Battle Hour, obviously. But it would be like an extra confirmation. Maybe we would get details on what the anniversary units are doing. Stuff like that. Like probably wouldn't get all their kits, but I could see us getting like a visual confirmation on like the card arts.
Yeah.
Maybe even a teaser at the banners. Like it could be really interesting. And then during the live stream for the anniversary, they'll actually reveal like the details of the characters and all the events, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, usually with Battle Hour, they do show off some pretty exciting stuff most of the time. At least from as far as I remember in the past. So I would certainly not be surprised if they if they do show like something related to the anniversary.
Like they announced it's going to be a bigger announcement, so like it's got to be probably anniversary, right? It says it's 2 days
Yeah.
before. But yeah,
I would think so, yeah. I mean, well, at that point, who knows? Maybe we would already have the some of the info. I don't know, but regardless, though, yeah, I would think they would show something.
it could be.
Um,
It's like even like a trailer. Remember how we got the Gohan and Piccolo trailer for the New Year's
Mhm.
anniversary, New Year's celebration last year? They could
Yeah,
like show us some trailer at the end, and there's like we see like the card art and then like the quotes. That could be really cool.
yeah,
Yeah, it definitely would be interesting to see some kind of teaser. The big event like the Battle Hour thing, we usually hope to see something. So
Right.
I guess we will.
Maybe it's like some miraculous awakening theme, and
Yeah.
then it's like we get like UI Goku and then Gohan. And
I
that's the theme of
remember.
the anniversary.
I think
that would be cool.
I remember ages ago. I think I did a video about it in the end because I'd made a tweet because I was really bored at work on a night shift. But
Mhm.
I made a concept card for like a UI Goku and Beast Gohan like joint forces card.
That'd be
and,
cool.
man,
That'd be cool too.
that would be absolutely crazy. So I'm just waiting for a confirmation from someone in the chat. So shout out to Talas, or I don't know if it's Talas or Tala's World. Apparently, I think I did see it when it first came in, but there's a super chat. I believe it was for $5 that for some reason is not being shown in Streamlabs. He sent another message to say that we missed it out of the list, but I don't know why Streamlabs does this sometimes because it's not showing on the list. And unfortunately, I can't, the chat will only scroll back so far. So I have asked him if he can let us know in the chat what the comment was because
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's weird that it does that because, it's nowhere in the Streamlabs alerts here. And unfortunately, you can't scroll back far enough in the chat to see it. So obviously, we're at the point now. We're basically at the end of the episode, but obviously, we don't want to miss it out since our guy did pop a super chat in here. So hopefully,
Twice,
hopefully he can reply. Hopefully, he sees that and can let us know. But yeah, so Battle Hour be interesting. The fan meetup thing should be interesting.
Yeah.
The
I will say, I'm almost kind of hoping he does it. I know. I don't know if either of you are familiar, but I believe his name is Enrico. I apologize if I'm saying that incorrectly. He's a Italian Dokkan content creator.
He got invited.
He got invited, yeah, to the fan meetup because it's it's obviously just like it's not like they not like they I guess care if you live in Japan. It's just if they kind of do, but like they just send it out to JP accounts basically.
Yeah, no, because what happens is you had to do the 9th anniversary missions, and then exchange the tickets for which place you want to be potentially attended to.
Right.
If you did win that, you would actually get invited. But you need to put in a Japan phone number. You need to put in a address and then like your name and stuff like that. Because they give you prizes and stuff like that. Remember last year, people got like the book with like the card arts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember
that's
that.
the thing. So I don't know if that person will be able to go.
Maybe I kind of hope he does, but we'll see. That would be awesome if we had a man on the inside.
I mean, last year they still streamed some of these things from their.
Yeah, they did. They did have a little live stream, which was nice. I hope that they do that again because people really liked that last time, and it was nice because we got to. I remember you were live translating that. I'm pretty sure, where we had the questions come in, where basically like the Japanese fans who were attending the event got to ask questions to the developers like live basically, or they had asked them before and then they had them prepared live to answer like on stage. And then I remember I think you were translating the questions if I remember that correctly. Maybe it was somebody else on the timeline, I don't know, but regardless though, it was interesting seeing everything they had to say in regards to the questions.
What's interesting as well is, wasn't it the fan meetup was the thing where they asked about like pity and they were like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. And then they did.
Yeah, and then they did it. Yeah. That was from the fan meetup.
They said they have no plans for it. And it's
but
I showed you how things could just pop in out of nowhere and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So shout out to Talaz World. He did reply. We missed the super chat. So basically he was saying that the Carnival LR banner should be the same for both Global and JP. So Omega and then a new LR. So obviously both of them would have, I mean, we did kind of talk about that a little bit. Both the banners having Omega and a new LR. His suggestion was LR Bikini Marin as a Peppy 100% leader. The non-canon Krillin's girlfriend. I love the fact
she's not in the game, honestly.
As a random like side tangent, I will never understand why that filler obviously came out. It was like during, I don't know which saga it was supposed to be, but it was way before like the Boo saga. So you would assume that whoever decided to name Marin as like the filler character, Krillin's girlfriend, Marin, aka Krillin's daughter, probably didn't exist at the time. So it's still very weird that they ended up going with that name in the future version. Because I remember thinking that as a kid, where it was like, why did Krillin name his daughter after his ex-girlfriend? That's like really weird. What does Android 18 think about this? So, but obviously she's a non-canon character, so it's just very odd.
I don't know. It's quite weird. I mean, I would think that that's probably just like a kind of like a miscommunication between teams, or like one group just didn't know or something. But like, you would kind of think that like somebody would have brought it up in production. Like surely somebody, when they were making the Boo saga, would have been like, guys, listen, I remember the other night, I was, I was thinking about Dragon Ball, and I don't know if we should name her this. But it was like, it is kind of funny though to think about like every name in the world that they could have picked, right? Like literally so many names exist. They could have even made something up and they picked the same name. What are the chances?
It's crazy. Well, there you go. So very interesting. Random tangent to end the episode on. You love to see it. So shout out to Talas World. for the super chats.
What attack would Krillin's ex even have? Taking all of Krillin's money?
That's a good point, right? Because at least Bulma has like a gun and stuff, right? That'd be very weird.
She's got tech, bro. Couldn't even do anything. Yeah, I don't know.
Right, well, we'll leave you guys to consider that. That's a good old head scratcher right there.
Bring us your Marin cards with what she could possibly do in the anime. Make like, you know how people make like the fake animations in Dokkan with like the anime clips. Let me see it. Tag us on the Twitter.
All right, so that is going to be it for episode 14 of the Slot 1 Super Podcast. We appreciate you guys all coming out. Shout out to everyone who did contribute and help to support the podcast. We appreciate you. Shout out to everyone that came out to see it live, take part in the polls, things like the trash takes. Good, always good for that live experience. But obviously, shout out to all you guys who are either watching back the VOD version or listening to the Spotify version, which will go up tomorrow at the same time the podcast goes live, which is 8 p.m. UK. It's like 3 p.m. EST and then midday. No,
it's 2 p.m.
midday PST. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old clocks changing confused me the other day, but we're back to our regular schedule programming. So that's going to be it from us for this week. We will see you back next week. Potentially, the unit won't be out, but potentially we will know who the Part 2 LR is by then. So stay tuned. Keep an eye out on the official Slot 1 Super Podcast Twitter for when we post up the trash takes tweet ready for next week. So you can contribute with a trash take that you have seen or one that you have yourself that you think is quite spicy. And yeah, that's going to be it from us. And we will see you guys next week. So from myself, Minato's Flash and Dokkan Assets, thanks for coming out to the Slot 1 Super Podcast. And we will see you next time. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.